Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Happy Chirp. Today I am sitting with Saman Hayat Sumro, who happens to be a fellow influencer and content creator. I've known her for a while now, and I've had a very raw and real conversation about her life recently because she has had some major transitions. She got married, she relocated to another country, and one of the most major things that happened in her life recently was a very huge health scare where she lost eyesight in one of her eyes. So all of these changes and transitions led to a lot of growth and a lot of learning, and she's shared about them in the most raw and real way. She also started doing hijab, why that happened, and what it's like to go through all of these things, how it affects your perception about life, and how it kind of matures you and grows you. So in all this time, she's learned some wonderful lessons, and in this podcast, she is sharing them with us. So without any more delay, here's Saman. Hi Saman.
Hi, how are you?
Assalamualaikum, how are you?
Walaikum assalam.
कैसी हो?
मैं ठीक, आप बताएं?
ठीक ठाक. Thank you for coming, taking out the time. I know that your schedule is very hectic these days.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, obviously.
So Saman, there's a lot that's had happened in your life. I think you've had some major shifts and changes in your life.
The most happening year of my life, I would like to call it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
In every way, in good ways or in bad ways.
In bad ways, yeah. And obviously when things happen, they always bring a lot of growth.
Of course.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm sure you felt that growth.
I felt it very closely.
Very closely. Yeah.
I've experienced things that have made me grow mature, and also I feel like, I don't know, it's shifted in my, there's a huge personality shift, and I feel like maybe it's for the better.
I'm sure it's for the better. ज़्यादातर चीज़ें इसलिए होती हैं कि
आप कुछ सीखें.
कुछ सीखें उससे. I think that is actually the purpose of life.
Yeah.
To learn. Okay. But before we get into where you are now and how those shifts have come, I want to talk a bit about the old Saman.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to talk a bit about your journey and what is the life that has led up to this moment and this shift. So my first question would be that, have you always lived in Karachi your whole life?
Yes, born and raised in Karachi.
And where did you do most of your schooling from?
I was a Beaconite.
Acha.
And after Beacon House, मैंने वहीं से A-levels भी किया, although I wanted to go to another school, but I got full scholarship, so my dad was like, you have to save money.
You have to save money and stay here. Huh?
So I got scholarship, so I started studying. I did my A-levels from Beacon House as well. फिर उसके बाद वहाँ से मैंने अल्तमश में एडमिशन लिया. I became a dentist just like you. And after that, I haven't really done my master's or anything yet.
So why did you decide to do dentistry?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. Basically, I wanted to do MBBS. I wanted to be a proper surgeon. But I only wanted to do it from AKU, Aga Khan, the most famous university in Pakistan. I think so, in medical terms. और मुझे बस आगा खान ही जाना था because since बचपन हम कुछ किसी ना किसी वजह से जाते थे, and I used to see doctors and I used to see that environment and I used to be like, नहीं, अब मुझे यहीं पे डॉक्टर बनना है. I gave the test and I failed. So it just shattered my dreams, and I was like, you know what, so I was preparing for tests उस time पे, so my dad was like, give dentistry as well. So I gave the dentistry exam, but my focus was AKU. Frankly speaking, I did not prepare really well for it. And now that I think about it, and back then, even when I failed, I knew कि मैंने सही prepare ही नहीं किया. So I think I failed, and I was really sad. And I had already gotten admission in Altamash, so
in the dentistry.
Yeah, in dentistry.
उनका है ही सिर्फ dentistry.
Yeah. They're just अब उन्होंने hospital खोला है, but पढ़ाई wise सिर्फ dentistry है. So then I remember I had to appear for my NTS, which is the national test for medical, MCAT जो होता है, and I did not. I regret that also, but I think everything happens for a reason. तो मैंने वो attempt ही नहीं दिया, and I just, my dad was like, अब हो गया admission, तो just continue with whatever you have, maybe it's for the best. क्योंकि हमारा faith हमें यही बताता है हर वक्त कि जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है. So then I started studying dentistry. That's how it happened.
And you said that you wanted to be an MBBS doctor.
Yeah.
So was that a lifelong thing? बचपन से कि डॉक्टर बनना था या उससे पहले कुछ और था?
नहीं, वो तो मेरे चेंज होते रहते हैं. मुझे कभी टीचर बनना है, कभी इंटीरियर डिजाइनर बनना है. I like doing multiple things, and that's why I think I became a creator because I like doing multiple things. But yeah, I wanted to be a surgeon from a very long time. But yeah, I think from the time where I didn't realize how much padhai and how much effort you have to put into this. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, and then when you started doing dentistry, what was that like? Did you like it?
I liked it.
Feel like it was a good decision then?
Okay, so I liked the first year was more like वही medical related पढ़ाई. So
Anatomy,
I was enjoying.
physiology.
हाँ, मुझे बहुत मजा आ रहा था. मैं कहा, oh my god, like this is the doctor feel. You wear your lab coat and you're like, you know. And aista you realize कि okay, it's almost the same. I hated the dental specific subjects. Like I hated dental materials. ये बहुत technical बात है. तो
Oral pathology.
सारी जो वो वाले subjects थे, I used to hate those, but I used to love the medical bit of it. But I was like, you know, अब जब कर ही रही हूँ, तो I was a very पढ़ाकू type girl at that time. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So माशाल्लाह से I passed out with 11 distinctions. Yeah, so I did great.
Whoa.
Yeah,
माशाल्लाह. अच्छा.
Because मेरा ये है कि अगर मैं कुछ कर रही हूँ तो मैं सही से करूँगी, वरना I'd rather not. I'd come out of it. So yeah.
Yeah. And then did you pursue it?
I did for the first few years, but COVID came as soon as we graduated, like right after. So मैंने 1 साल की थी, but slowly I realized that I like doing it. I'm very good at it, but I don't enjoy doing it as much as I would enjoy doing something else. Okay. And no, it's not because of the money. You know, a lot of people बचपन से आपने सुना होता है डेंटिस्ट बहुत पैसे कमाते हैं, right? और जब आप एक्चुअली पाकिस्तान में डेंटिस्ट बनते हैं तो आपको पता चलता है कि डेंटिस्ट बिल्कुल पैसे नहीं कमाते until they're like 40 or something. तो शुरू में मुझे थोड़ा सा demotivating था ये पैसे वाला bit because I was making money from my blog, but I did not even enjoy doing, like sitting on the chair and just, you know, working on something. Rose एक ही चीज़, I was not enjoying that a lot. But I was good at it, and obviously I had invested so much into it, and I was a dentist, so I had to pursue it. And I still want to. ऐसा नहीं है कि I don't want to. But right now I feel like my priorities are a bit different than what it was back then.
So बीच में you mentioned that you were talking about, you were also doing the blog at that time, right? When, at what point in your life did that happen, and how did it happen? Like, where did the thought and idea come from? Were you following someone? You felt like you want to do it too? Yeah, what was it?
Okay, so I accidentally went into that as well. Okay. Everything in my life has been accident. I like to call it that way. Basically, I was in my, I think, first or second year, I think, and in Altamash, they were doing dentistry, and my cousin's husband, who is Ramesh, Ramesh, you know him? Yeah. So he called me up and he's like, we need a host. He knew I was into, like, you know, talking and stuff, and like I liked public speaking
very
and stuff.
Very extroverted, like I said before as well.
So it was a very in-house project at Parlo. So he asked me to join the platform, and it was more like बहुत casual था. Like it was not like a proper system or anything. He was like, okay, you come in for an audition. अच्छा, when you think of an audition, you think of a setup like this and like, you know, very formal, camera के सामने आपको बैठना होगा. But it was very informal and casual, and I was directly thrown onto a live show.
Okay.
Yeah. So but I kept talking. उसमें तो हम expert हैं. कोई मसला ही नहीं हुआ. And बस I think usi din I got the okay, you're going to do this twice a week and you'll get paid for it. So I was like, wow, okay.
So that was creating content under a platform at the time.
I wasn't even creating content. I was just talking.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even call it content creation.
But you basically came on the internet.
I came on the internet. And then when I was on the internet and I started doing these live shows, people came up to me and like in comments and stuff, and they used to tell me that we want to know more about you. We want to know more about you. And I knew of Instagram, and I'm not going to lie, I knew of Hamna Raza. Okay, I knew of you and I knew of Instagram, but I was not, you know, आप अपनी तस्वीरें लगा के खुश हो जाते हैं. मेरा Instagram ऐसा था, प्राइवेट अकाउंट, अपनी तस्वीर लगाई, कभी कभी गंदे से उसको एडिट किया on Instagram ही और बस लगा दी. So that's when I actually looked into your profile as well, and I was, you know, I was following you, but I was not like मुझे नहीं पता था how does this work.
How it works. Yeah.
मुझे नहीं पता था आप इससे पैसे कमा सकते हैं या आप क्या करेंगे फेमस होके. मुझे फेमस नहीं होना था. I was not into that. बस मुझे था कि okay, let's just post. People are interested to know, so let's post.
Yeah.
So I started posting about my life over there, and randomly one day like followers बढ़ रहे थे, and then one brand reached out to me. or an agency, I don't remember, but they were like, we want to send you a PR package. And I'm like, what is a PR package? Like, wo kya hota hai ye, right? I had no idea. And they're like, you just have to post it. And I did not even know there was any कोई पैसे की चीज़ होती है, मुझे नहीं पता था. मैंने कहा मुझे फ्री में कुछ मिलेगा, तो मैं तो बहुत एक्साइटेड हो गई. मैंने कहा फ्री में गिफ्ट मिलेगा. सो आई एम लाइक ओके. एंड देन मैंने उसको, मैं बहुत बुरी सी, मैंने तस्तीली गार्डन में बैठ के विद अ बास्केट एंड आई पोस्टेड ऑन माई इंस्टाग्राम. And that's when I felt like, okay, this is something, right? Slowly, I started realizing how this works. I was trying to create. I was being invited to events, but I was not a creator, I wouldn't call it, because I was not really making this acha wala content. I was just posting whatever I felt like.
Yeah, because the industry is so much immature at that time. It was very basic.
और मुझे नहीं पता था कैसे होता है, right? And then still at that platform, मैं उस वक्त काम कर रही थी. But then slowly, my final year was approaching, and I was like, you know what, I need to step out and just fix to one thing. Yeah, and padhai was very important. तो मैंने वो platform छोड़ दिया. And I resigned and I moved into बस अपनी पढ़ाई मैंने क्या करूँगी और अपना ये बढ़ाऊँगी. तो फिर उसको जब डायरेक्शन मिलना शुरू हुआ, आहिस्ता ट्रैवलिंग शुरू हुई, मुझे समझ आया कि मैं करना क्या चाहती हूँ. बिकॉज व्हेन यू मीट पीपल फ्रॉम ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ प्लेसेस, दैट्स व्हेन यू रियलाइज कि व्हाट इज इट दैट यू रियली वांट टू डू.
That was then you started finding your niche.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before that I was just shit posting.
No, but a lot of people, someone when they come and ask me ke, how do I find my niche, right? Or what should I make my blog or content about? So I'm just like, you would expect me to give you an answer about what you should create content about, or create content about what you're passionate about, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy to say, but I always tell people that they need to explore the platform.
Yes.
So they just need to start putting them out there, and they will realize somewhere that what they thought in the start might not even be what they want to do on the platform. So the exploration part is very essential. I think it's part of the process for any creator to go through that first.
और मुझे हम ना ये अपनी एक ट्रिप में आई थी. मैं तो मुझे तो भागने का बड़ा शौक था कि मुझे पाकिस्तान से किस तरह निकलना है ना, मुझे कहीं घूमने जाना है. अच्छा, ये नहीं था कि रहना है, मगर मुझे था कि बस कहीं घूमना है. हाँ. और कभी नहीं किया था. हम एज अ फैमिली कभी इस तरह से अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते थे कि हम पूरी फैमिली कहीं बाहर वेकेशन पे जाए. हमारी वेकेशन होती थी 3-4 दफ़ा हमने की है इस तरह से कि हम भूर बन जाते थे और हम घूम के वापस आ जाते थे. आई नो फॉर पीपल, समवन हु वाज लिविंग इन इस्लामाबाद बोले कि भूर बन आते थे और वापस चले जाते थे, बट फॉर कराची इट वाज ह्यूज.
एंड दैट्स द स्टोरी of many people. Like even from Islamabad, that's the story of many people.
So for us, like I was like, मुल्क के बाहर जाने वाली चीज़ was just like unreal, right? And I was like, I want to do that someday. So I went for an observership program. I had to convince my dad. So I was like, you know what, मुझे जाना है मलेशिया और मैं 1 महीने रहूँगी और मैं एक स्कूल में पढ़ूँगी और इस तरह से. तो मेरे अब्बा ने कहा मुझे पता है तुम ये क्या कर रही हो ना. उनको भी समझ आ गई थी कि ये किसी पर्पस से जा रही है.
Regardless, it's exposure, someone.
Yes, and I wanted it badly.
Yeah.
So that's when I went on a solo trip for the first time, and I met a few people on that trip who, when I started to tell them that I'm from Pakistan, they were like, oh, have you run away? Like, bhag ke aayi ho? And I was like, what do you mean? Because I was wearing this, I wasn't doing my hijab then, and I was wearing half sleeves with a dangri and stuff, and I was very openly hanging around on an island alone. So this woman was like, आप भाग के आए हो या आपकी ज़बरदस्ती शादी तो नहीं कर रहे थे, and like, don't you wear the burqa and stuff, पाकिस्तान का सुन के. And I was like, bro, aren't you watching Humsafar? Like, I was confused कि क्या हो रहा है. Like, and she was from India, तो मुझे ज़्यादा हैरानी इसलिए हुई. मैंने कहा, you guys should realize. अच्छा, this is back in 2017. So उस टाइम पे पता नहीं, मगर मैं काफ़ी हैरान थी. And those questions started to get to me, and I realized कि okay, नहीं, मैं कुछ करना है मुझे. I have an audience. I have to talk about this, and I have to create the image of a Pakistani woman who is powerful, who is not, hidden, who is not going after her dreams because she does not have a support or what. क्योंकि मैंने अपने घर में देखा था कि my mom would not do things without my dad because she would be like, नहीं बाबा करेंगे तो फिर हम जाएंगे, या my husband will go तो मैं करूँगी. तो that was really like मेरे लिए वो होता था कि क्यों, like why would you be dependent. आपको अगर पेरिस जाना है घूमने, आप जाएं, just don't be dependent on someone else. तो मैं फिर उस पॉइंट से निकली, and I was like, okay, I need to change the narrative and I need to start doing something.
Yeah.
So that's how it actually started.
So that was a moment that kind of clicked.
Yes.
And gave you your purpose for being here online. Very interesting story. Acha, so rewind back to never going abroad and then going abroad alone.
Yeah.
Someone. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like that's a lot of courage,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of confidence. कहाँ से आया ये? मतलब how did you know, like how were you so like chill about it? You know, एक तो होता है कि अच्छा permission नहीं मिलती लोगों को, लेकिन एक होता है कि खुद भी इंसान को डर लगता है, इतना आसान नहीं होता. At least I think so. So how were you?
So इससे पहले अच्छा मलेशिया वाज माय फर्स्ट सोलो ट्रिप, बट इससे पहले जो मेरा प्लेटफॉर्म जिसके लिए मैं काम कर रही थी, मैंने ही उनको प्रपोज किया था कि हम एक ट्रैवल शो करते हैं. उसमें भी मैं अकेली गई थी, लेकिन माय फ्रेंड वाज जॉइनिंग मी देयर, सो माय मॉम वाज अ लिटिल कंफर्टेबल कि कोई है. दैट वाज एक्चुअली माय फर्स्ट, आई वुड कॉल इट सोलो ट्रिप, बट बिकॉज माय फ्रेंड्स वर देयर, सो आई डोंट रियली कॉल इट अ सोलो ट्रिप. बट दैट ट्रिप मैं उसकी बात करूँगी बिकॉज दैट वाज मोर लाइक एन अकेले वाला. बिल्कुल लाइक पहली दफ़ा निकली थी मुल्क के बाहर. बहुत एक्साइटेड थी हम ना. आई वाज लाइक मैं कुछ करने जा रही हूँ, मैं मतलब बाहर निकल रही हूँ. एंड आई वाज जस्ट लाइक आई डोंट नो व्हाट, कैसे कॉन्फिडेंस आया, क्या हुआ, बस मुझे था कि मुझे बस बाहर जाना है. वो नहीं होता आप जैसे टीवी पे देखते हैं और आपको होता है कि ये करना है,
एक ड्रीम.
एक ड्रीम था और मैं बस उसके पीछे भाग रही थी और बस हो जाता. मतलब इमिग्रेशन से लेके हर चीज़ आई वाज लाइक आई एम जस्ट गोना डू व्हाटएवर, बट आई जस्ट वांट टू गेट आउट ऑफ दिस प्लेस वंस एंड एक्सपीरियंस इट. एंड इट वाज अनरियल. Like for me to experience a new world, a new culture, and I wouldn't lie, I cried the first day because I was not able to understand the language. बहुत बैरियर आ रहा था. मैं टर्की गई थी obviously. तो मुझे, मैं वहाँ पे खड़े होके मेट्रो जो ट्रैम होती थी उसके बाहर मैं रोई, क्योंकि मैंने अपने पैसे डाले थे मशीन में to get the card out और वो नहीं निकला और मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा था. The language barrier was too much and I started crying on the main road. But it was an experience and I laugh about it now because
and how old were you?
2016 में या 17 में I was
23. 23 or 24.
23 होंगी I think. Yeah, not even. I'm 29 now, so I don't know. Calculate 6 years back. हाँ 23. 6 years ना, हाँ 6 years. So I was 23 and मतलब मैं बड़ी हो गई थी काफ़ी. तो I think with experiences मैं थोड़ी सी घर पे भी maturity वाला मुजाहिरा करती थी. I used to drive since I was 18. थोड़ा सा बाहर निकलना और इस तरह manage करना. I was earning, तो obviously एक financial responsibility थी. तो I think उससे बहुत फ़र्क पड़ता है.
And it was a work related trip.
I made it a work related trip.
You made it. ये करना था तो ये रास्ता निकालो, वो रास्ता निकालो. That's smart.
ऐसे तो परमिशन ही नहीं मिलती. तो अब बाबा को तब भी पता था कि ये कुछ है टेढ़ा इसमें, लेकिन I was just like, okay, I need to do this. So किसी तरह से तो करना ही है.
And then so after the Malaysia trip, you became Stroll with someone.
Yes.
Yeah, and then your blog was essentially about women traveling solo.
And independence in all kinds. So I call it physical, emotional, all kinds of independence. You don't have to rely on someone else for your needs. Basic financial हो, emotional हो, कुछ भी हो. Because खुद करना चाहिए. जैसे मूवी देखना, मैं अकेले मूवी देखने भी जाती थी. मैं रेस्टोरेंट्स में अकेले बैठती थी, जो मैं कभी शायद ना करती पहले. लेकिन a lot of experiences made me realize कि you know you're going to be alone. And I mean I didn't know when I was going to get married. और वो बहुत मतलब एक टाइम में मुश्किल था. I wouldn't lie. Like बहुत मुश्किल हो रही थी मेरी शादी होना because everybody thought of this girl as a you know open-minded लड़की है जो ट्रैवल करती है और जिसका ब्लॉग है, पब्लिक की तस्वीरें डालती है, तो अच्छा नहीं समझा जाता शायद. I don't know. But तो मैंने कहा कब तक मैं उस इंतज़ार में रहूँगी कि शादी के बाद करना. So I've actually given 2 TED Talks on this topic as well because I realized that a lot of girls have been told this कि शादी के बाद करना कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, आप प्लीज़ अभी करें. सब अभी करें.
That's very nice. And like I think the idea is to be so comfortable in the wholeness of yourself.
Yes, you don't need anyone.
Yeah.
You don't. I'm married. I still say you don't need anyone to fulfill your dreams, to just have a moment with yourself. You'll enjoy your company. It's okay.
Yeah.
And by yourself, I don't mean be on your phone, please. I mean just enjoy the
live
moment.
life. Yeah. Yeah. And I think because हमारी society में भी बहुत होता है ना कि पहले फादर पे, ब्रदर पे, फैमिली में बहुत डिपेंडेंस होती है और फिर बाद में लाइक इट्स फ्रॉम वन टू द अदर होता है. यू डोंट गेट द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बी योर होल सेल्फ बाय योर सेल्फ.
बिल्कुल. आप एक्सपीरियंस ही नहीं करते तो आपको पता ही नहीं होता कि आप एक्चुअली हैं कौन, आपकी पर्सनालिटी क्या है. वो जब आप बाहर निकलते हैं अकेले और आप चैलेंजेस फेस करते हैं ना, तब आपको आइडिया होता है कि अच्छा मेरी ये वीकनेस है. क्योंकि हमें हमारे पेरेंट्स ने इतना क्वेश्चन किया हुआ है, हमें हमारी वीकनेस ही नहीं पता चलने देते. जो चाहिए, अच्छा मैं जो चाहिए से मतलब ये नहीं है कि जैसे मैंने बताया वी नेवर ट्रैवल एज अ फैमिली अब्रॉड. हम लोग सोच भी नहीं सकते थे महंगाई की वजह से. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि जो चाहिए मिल गया, लेकिन जैसे जो कंफर्टेबली मिल सकता था.
बेसिकली एक होता है कि जो चाहिए, एक होता है a consistent safety net of protection.
Yes.
वो तो हमेशा था ना.
Yes,
हाँ.
बिल्कुल हमेशा सर पे. हाँ.
Yeah, so that was always there.
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वो भी टाइम अच्छा था. I enjoyed it. अब adulthood पढ़ रही है तो पता चला.
अच्छा, so you said के like and then this was a theme that sort of developed in your life at that time of independence.
Yeah.
In holistically, like in a lot of areas of
Yeah.
life, like mentally, financially, emotionally. How do you think that traveling solo contributed to that? Like, what were some of your learnings you would say कि travel करने से एक sense of empowerment, I'm sure, came about, right?
बिल्कुल.
How do you think that happened, and what were some of those things?
So number one, I feel like meeting people of different nationalities. मुझे बहुत सीखने को मिला. वो लोग young age से ही रेस्टोरेंट्स में काम करते हैं, वेटर्स बनते हैं, छोटी छोटी अपने बिल्स खुद पे करते हैं. तो आई थिंक एक ये चीज़ में बहुत इंप्रेस होती थी कि यार दे आर यंगर दैन मी, दे आर पेइंग देयर ओन बिल्स, दे आर लिविंग इन अ डिफरेंट सिटी विदाउट देयर फैमिली एंड दे आर मेकिंग इट वर्क. मुश्किल में रहते हैं लेकिन वीकेंड पे पार्टी भी करते हैं. लाइक मेरे लिए था कि यार हाउ डू दीज गाइज पढ़ाई भी कर रहे हैं, काम भी कर रहे हैं, सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, फुल एक्सट्रीम पोटेंशियल पे काम कर रहे हैं, राइट? तो ये कैसे, मतलब मैं सोचती थी कि ये कैसे कर सकते हैं और हम क्यों इतना शेल उसमें हैं, बबल में.
And I'll interrupt you here because I think like generally with protection, with being sheltered, with staying in your safety and comfort zone comes a lack of independence and comes a lack of freedom.
Yeah.
So when you are protected, you are also in exchange giving up your freedom.
Right.
And the moment you have like independence, the moment you have responsibility, you also, it's a transaction. So at the same time, you gain freedom. So
Agreed.
while you have a lot to take care of, it just feels, the sense of empowerment comes from the idea that I control every aspect of my life, myself, and it's liberating.
Yeah.
Whether that means that I have to hustle, but at least I have the control. At least I make the decisions. Nobody else is making decisions.
I mean, I can break down and cry about that, but that was my decision.
Yeah.
So as long as it was mine.
Yeah.
So एक तो ये चीज़ थी. फिर I think दूसरा ये था कि I think आप अपने साथ जब बहुत टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं तो you learn about yourself. You also become a little sharp about situations. आप situations में आते हैं, right? तो आपको experience होता है कि अच्छा ये होगा तो मुझे ये करना है. जैसे मुझे याद है मैं एम्स्टर्डम में थी और हम लोग लेट नाइट बस से उतरे थे. माई फ्रेंड वॉज विद मी, बट फिर भी वी वर गर्ल्स, और हम लेट नाइट जब बस से उतर के, हमारा होटल बिल्कुल सामने था, बट व्हेन आई गॉट ऑन द आउट ऑफ द स्टॉप आई जस्ट सॉ two people who were not doing anything suddenly walking towards us. So I just asked my friend and I'm like, follow me. Like that's all I said. My hotel was right there, but I went straight because people were going that way and no one was coming this way. So थोड़ा सा आप situations में आते हैं तो आप सीखते हैं. You become a little sharp. You know how to deal with certain situations. And I feel like that is important.
I think what you're saying is that essentially you learn to think for yourself.
Yes.
Without somebody else, right?
Yes.
Like thinking on your feet, for yourself, by yourself, and making those decisions by yourself, right? So
and because you're protected by your parents all the time, तो आपका दिमाग इतना यूज ही नहीं हो रहा था. कोई और आपकी फ्लाइट देख रहा है, कोई और आपका इमिग्रेशन पासपोर्ट आप नहीं भूल रहे. everything is being taken care of.
Yeah, and while when you think of these things in isolation, they are just things, but what they're actually doing is it's a soft skill that is being built inside of you of taking more decisions for yourself, thinking by yourself.
Thinking, I think very important, क्योंकि ये आप situations में आके पता चलेगा, वरना you can't. You won't ever know.
You won't ever know. Yeah. Generally, मुझे इस तरह भी लगता है कि parenting में a lot of parents, myself included, not saying कि मैं इस तरह नहीं करती हूँ, but like ideally मुझे लगता है कि as a parent, while it's important to teach our children lessons, what's more important is to teach our children to reflect and think for themselves. So we should be able to, and it's not just about कि आप उनको protect ना करें. You can protect them.
You should.
Yeah, but what we do is that we put out, like, we teach them lessons, but we don't ask them questions that they can reflect on by themselves. So you ask them those questions that will eventually lead to the lesson instead of just giving the lesson. So you have to build that ability in them to be able to because you won't be there all the time in their life.
Yes.
Like मैं भी सोचती हूँ कि you know, like there will be a day, like right now I feel like I control every aspect of my child's life because he's at home,
Yeah.
right?
He's with you.
The day he goes to school,
Yeah.
there's a level of control that I will not have. And I want to, abhi wo bhi bahut chota hai obviously, but aista I'm going to start like losing that control, and I just want to be able to. So that's why I don't want that control. I actually just want him to have the ability to think for himself and reflect for himself, because I will not even know a lot of the things that are going on or happening in his life.
100%. And ये हमने नहीं किया. We also keep certain things to ourselves, and generally also I feel like there are things that we will never know until we experience them.
Until we experience them. So, yeah, interesting. That was a good answer. Okay, so then there was Stroll with Someone, and then there was a lot of content and a lot of that. And बीच में like you did some dentistry, फिर वो
I was on and off. Obviously COVID में 6 महीने तो it was off. फिर उसके बाद जब start हुई तो on and off. But I was like part time. So मैं साथ साथ ये भी कर रही थी, मैं वो भी कर रही थी. But ऐसा नहीं था कि मैं full time उसको दे रही हूँ या full time इसको दे रही हूँ. I didn't want to leave that. I wanted to explore, and I wanted to do my masters essentially.
अच्छा. So then
I actually did get into my master's program. That's also a sad story. And a lot of people on my blog actually know about it because I did post. I got a very good percentage. I think it was 97 or 98. I don't even remember.
Bro, you are so smart.
No, mashallah. Please don't jinx.
No, mashallah. Yeah, for sure.
No, you know, I actually got in, and then COVID की वजह से my interview for the visa was not scheduled in time, and मुझे enter होना था. I was in Hungary. It was supposed to be in Hungary, and मुझे enter होना था before a certain date, and my visa appointment was a week after that. So I was like, I can't do this, and I requested and I did everything I could, and my accommodation, everything was, I paid also, and then I had to step back, and I had to. This was like the crushing of my dreams, because I always wanted to study abroad, especially in Europe. मेरा Europe एक dream था. I love European vibe.
And students in Europe is a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it badly, but वही बात है कि मेरा उसके बाद खैर मेरा faith और बढ़ता गया, because I realized कि you know जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, और मैं अगर उस trip पे या उस पे चली जाती तो I wouldn't have met Anas. So that is the thing that I tell people, you know, something better happened.
Yeah, like the trajectory of your life would have shifted. It would be looking like something else right now.
Definitely. And I'm happy with what I have right now. So I'm alhamdulillah.
Yeah. So then the next step was Shadi.
Yeah. That came along.
How old were you when you got married?
I was 27.
उससे पहले कोई, like, did you ever get the pressure of it or stuff? Or?
A lot of pressure, dude. I had a lot of pressure, although my mom never agrees now when I say that. But I'm sure she'll listen to this podcast and she'll be like, क्यों बोला तुमने कि मैंने pressure दिया था? Pressure उनको था, I would say, क्योंकि बाकी family, बाकी लोग कहते रहते हैं, and then, you know, the रिश्ता aunties and what not, and आहिस्ता आहिस्ता सबको ये feel होने लगा था हमना कि शायद the reason I'm not getting married is my blog. So I'm going to say this out publicly, but my best friend stopped believing in my blog. My mother stopped thinking, because she was also being convinced by other people. And that was one of the most hurtful times for me, because I used to feel like, you know, this is something like a space created by me for women. And this is I'm being told that this is the reason, because certain men or their families are not okay with women being out there. Like मेरे लिए इतना बड़ा ये question mark था, and I was struggling so much at that time कि I was like कि मैं ये बंद कर दूँ या नहीं कर दूँ. And I did I would say stop posting at one point of time because of this, and then I was like, you know what, no, I'm not going to change myself for anyone. Whoever wants to come should accept this. And I used to explain this to them, and they're like, oh, एक दफ़ा हो जाए फिर नहीं हो ही उसी से who is okay with me being on the internet. And I'm not doing anything wrong. मैं कोई modeling थोड़ी कर रही थी, like कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं कर रही थी मैं. I was there for a purpose, and I was financially independent, and I feel like I don't still think that there was anything wrong with what I was doing.
Right, and the right person came along. Yeah. And I think so now I think this is the moment where life starts to change a bit, right? Like the shift.
Because, you know,
we talked about in the start.
One thing I'd like to mention for girls who are struggling with Shadi right now, I want to mention this because I asked Anas when he met me, and I was like, you know, are you okay with the blog? Because there was some people who came before this, and they were creating a lot of issues on the blog. So I knew for sure that this is a problem. So I asked him and he was like, should there be a problem? Like his question was really like, he was confused. He was like, what do you mean? Like, is there something wrong? Like, he looked at my post and he's like, this is so good. What is the problem? Yeah. And then he actually asked his mom, he's like, do you think this is okay? She was like, what's wrong with this? Like, so you will meet a family who is okay with what you do. You just have to be patient. That's all.
Yeah, and that's true compatibility. Finding someone who, and like वही बात है कि people generalize people. No, there are people like you.
Yes.
Like if you and your family are okay with this and have accepted it, then there's another family out there who's okay with it and accepted it too.
Yes.
And that's the match. That's the whole point of a match, right?
Yeah.
That's compatibility.
Because आपने ना सिर्फ शादी नहीं करनी है, आपने पूरी जिंदगी गुजारनी है, आपने उस बंदे के साथ अपने बच्चे बड़े करने हैं, तो it has to be कि आप दोनों मैच करते हो हर वे में. हर वे में तो नहीं हो सकता, लेकिन important values बहुत important है.
Yeah, and like it's like why would you want to step into a marriage or a relationship? Like step into it with a compromise.
Yeah.
Right? Like why would you want to have that taste?
वो आपके अंदर रह जाएगा.
Like that's what I'm saying. That bad taste. Obviously, I'm not saying कि there shouldn't be any compromises because there's some things that you are okay with compromising on, right?
Yeah,
okay, this is an aspect of my life, but to be honest, I don't really care about it that much.
So I had lists. I had two lists, different lists. One was no compromise list and one was a compromise list. So you should know where you're willing to compromise, and it shouldn't change you or your personality, or it shouldn't be asking too much from you, but it should be something that you should be willing to work on, because a marriage is a compromise in certain elements, and
you have to adjust and you have to balance it.
Yeah, I mean, you were alone and now you have somebody else in your life sharing your house together, so you have to make sure that certain compromises you have to make. But it can't be 100% compromise, it can't be 100% whatever you want in life, so it has to be, you have to meet in the कहते हैं ना middle ground पे आ जाएं थोड़ा सा.
What I also mean to say is that there could be another girl exactly in your position that she has a blog and everything, right? Yeah. But she really likes someone for a lot of his things and she wants to get married to him, and for her that is more important.
Yeah.
Than the blog.
Right. She can let it go.
Then she can let it go, right? So it's a very personal thing. Like you can't be like,
नहीं ये नहीं. हाँ. जो आपको करना है लाइफ में, या जो आपके ड्रीम्स हैं, जैसे अगर आप डॉक्टर हैं और कोई आपको बोल दे नहीं डॉक्टर नहीं बनो, अच्छा अगर आपको वाकई शौक नहीं है तो आपने कहा ठीक है, लेकिन अगर आपको बनना था और आपको बनना है तो फिर दैट इज समथिंग यू शुड नॉट कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन.
Like and it shouldn't come from a societal pressure.
Yes.
That decision needs to come from you. Yeah, because that is empowerment.
Yeah.
The having the agency to make your decisions, which are not influenced by society and norms or whatever. So 100%. Very, very interesting. ठीक है. So yeah, that's so refreshing to hear that he was there and he didn't even think that this is a question. Like ये क्या बात है?
पता नहीं. हाँ वाकई. और मेरे दिमाग में इतना बैठ चुका था कि this is a problem, तो मैंने इसलिए पूछ लिया, और वो भी सोचता होगा कि क्या, like what is she, why is she saying that?
Yeah, I think eventually आप internalize करना शुरू हो जाता है.
हाँ, कि मेरे अंदर ही शायद कोई प्रॉब्लम है. Please don't do that. आपके अंदर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, और हो सकता है अगर हैं तो वर्क ऑन देम, लेकिन ये कोई एक प्रॉब्लम का क्राइटेरिया नहीं है.
हाँ सही है बिल्कुल. Right. So do you think that do you think this was one of the main reasons why you agreed to get married to this person?
Okay, so I told you I had two lists, right?
Yeah.
So one of them had like the no compromise list. तो उसमें मेरे लिए था कि ये इस पे no compromise है. Anas was meeting all of them. Not even like, I wouldn't say like six थे 7 में से या जो भी. He was meeting all of them. So I had no reason to say no. Of course, you have to compromise on certain things, which is okay. For me, coming from a family who was getting like slowly, we were financially doing well, alhamdulillah. So I was earning a lot of money. And बहुत shadowed थी अपने घर में, I would say, कि protected, वही वाली बात. और moving into a new life in a new city where I had to work double probably and manage the finances with my husband, because that's how life works here. Which people assume कि oh ये तो बहुत ही अमीर जगह पे इसने शादी कर ली है.
No, but life in Dubai is hard. Like
it's very hard
for a lot of people. Like double income is essential
here because खर्चे ज़्यादा हैं आपके. और जनरली मुझे ऐसा ही कोई लड़का चाहिए था जो थोड़ा सा सेल्फ मेड वाला हो, बिकॉज मुझे वो नहीं चाहिए था जो बहुत सेटल्ड वाले लोग होते हैं, बिकॉज because my dad was like that. He started from scratch and I adore him for that. So I wanted somebody who, you know, who I can grow with.
Yeah, it's like you can make a life together, build that empire, like shoulder to shoulder, right?
So,
not just step into someone's empire.
Yeah. And look, people मुझे कहते थे, oh, you know, you should look for a very rich family. You know, and I was like, I don't care. I actually want somebody who I can become rich with, let's say.
Yeah.
And what is the definition of rich? Like for me, I mean, I don't know, things change with time, especially after my health concern. मुझे लगता है कि चीज़ें मुझे बहुत different way में लगने लगी than what it was before. So I think, yeah.
And then so you got married and you moved to Dubai.
Yeah.
And that's 2 major life changes that you recently experienced in the past year. 9 months ago. Right? So it's like, okay, you got married, so you're moving away from your family, your entire reality from before, and then you're also moving out of your country.
Yeah.
What did that feel like? And how did you think that kind of impacted you?
Okay. So I think it was very tough for somebody who is... I'm like this with my family. So yeah, I am so close that agar main Karachi, maybe I wouldn't skip dinner time. I wouldn't make dinner plans with my friends. I would make lunch plans or sham ke plans. I like spending time with family. The kids at home are my jaan. Like I am so attached. And for me, this change was huge. And like, you know, मेरा बहुत लोग मजाक उड़ाते हैं कि sometimes I post about like this change and everything, and sometimes I'm crying, I'm emotional. So they say कि you know, at least आप दुबई में बैठ के रो रहे हो, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I hope you don't never have to stay away from your family, from your loved ones. It's not easy. And मैं इतना ज़्यादा attached थी कि मुझे शुरू में Anas 2-3 महीने he was like questioning. He was like, I thought कि तुम नहीं रह पाओगी, like नहीं adjust कर पाओगी. So because ये मुस्तकिल का रोना धोना लग रहा था मेरा कि मतलब मुझे बहुत याद आते थे. And I would video call my mom every day, which is fine. But बच्चों को बहुत याद करना and like, you know, her family gathering, and I would go back home very often. This year it's been 9 months, I've been 4 times. My family has come and my mom has come and I think 3-4 times already. So imagine like 9 months mein all of this has happened.
Yeah.
So that shows how close we are, right? And jab obviously my mom left her job and my dad used to be at work, my brothers, everyone was working, so main to home based kaam karti thi, so my life was more with my mom and the kids because wo ghar pe hote the, right? So I was very much like roz sabah ut ke bahar jaake I used to have you know, a family environment. Dubai aake when you get into a 3 bedroom के घर से एक 1 bedroom के घर में आप आते हैं और फिर जब अपना दरवाज़ा खोलते हैं और बस आप ही होते हैं उस स्पेस में और खामोशी, and you realize कि okay, this because your husband's at work, you're not working initially, you've moved in, right?
And you have no friends.
You have no friends who you can call in your PJs or something. It has to be a formally organized dinner or lunch or whatever. It's not the same. Like I would call my best friend in Karachi and be like, poncho, like chicken tikka khane ja rahe hain, you know? You can't do that here. You're not driving, you're not independent in that way, so you're just on your couch, I call it. I was on my couch. And then you're experiencing adulthood. You have to cook and you've never cooked in your life and you are burning the rice and you're crying कि मैंने मुशी कर दिया आज चावल तो आज मेरा दाल जल गई. You know, छोटी छोटी चीज़ें आपको hit कर रही होती हैं because you're like, you're struggling with this change and this new life that you're into, and you're trying to enjoy your honeymoon period of your marriage, but you're technically not able to do that because you have so much going on in your mind.
Suddenly a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
So navigating through adulthood, I think this is such a normal part of this process. Everybody goes through this.
और मुझे कुछ लोगों ने बोला भी कि like इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है. Oh my God, I have to tell you, I was a meme. I have an article on this. किसी ने मेरे ऊपर article लिखा है because I changed my sheets. खुशी और मैंने सेलिब्रेट किया था कि आज मैंने पहली दफ़ा अकेले अपनी शीट्स चेंज की हैं, यू नो, बेड शीट और वो सब. और नहीं करते यार. और जो ये आर्टिकल लिखता है मैं उससे भी पूछती हूँ क्या आप अपनी शीट्स घर पे खुद चेंज करते हैं? आई डाउट, बिकॉज पाकिस्तान में कोई कुछ नहीं करता. सब आपकी मेट्स कर रही होती हैं, कोई भी हिल के कोई काम नहीं करता. और मैंने भी नहीं किया था उसी तरह. एंड आई एम ग्लैड मैंने नहीं किया था बिकॉज मैंने वो इन्जॉय किया टाइम. और अब मैं जब कर रही हूँ तो मुझे पता चल रहा है कि अच्छा सिर्फ शीट्स चेंज करना नहीं था हमने उसका अचीवमेंट. उसकी अचीवमेंट ये थी कि आपने खाना भी पकाया हुआ था, आपने घर भी साफ़ किया, आपने शीट्स भी चेंज की, एंड यू डिड योर वर्क, योर ब्लॉग वर्क, एंड यू मैनेज्ड एवरीथिंग ऑल इन वन डे, एंड you felt like you achieved something. So what's wrong?
It was a sense of achievement.
And why is that wrong?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
तो मुझे जब वो मीम बनी और ट्विटर पे वही ट्रेंडिंग और ये और वो, तो I was just like, I feel like I was laughing it off as well because it was funny for me. Like, why are you attacking somebody on their achievements, whether it's small? It's an achievement for me.
Yeah, and it's not even just about the achievement, right? It's like, this is your reality. You're telling the truth. These are things you've never done, and you're doing them now, and that's the raw, real side.
Yes,
and that should be appreciated. Like, you can always,
but it's a meme.
But you can always like fake it.
And I can be like, you know, like,
I have adulthood on my tip, so मुझे तो सब कुछ करना आता है. But you're there and you're showing, and see, that's the story of a lot of girls, right? Pakistan mein, like, obviously
guys also who move abroad.
Guys की तो है ही. But like, you know, like एक वो तो है, but I know majority of Pakistan की situation नहीं है, ये minority की है. But this is a reality, and that's a fact.
And I was talking to a friend who said कि यार मैं खाना इसलिए नहीं बनाता कि बर्तन धोने पड़ते हैं. मतलब आप सोचें, वाकई मैं भी कभी कभी सोचती हूँ यार, इतना खाना बनाने की इतनी मेहनत करूंगी, 2 मिनट में खाना खत्म हो जाएगा और इतने सारे बर्तन पायला हो जाएंगे ना. छोटी छोटी चीज़ों में आप सोचते हैं कि जब आप बाहर जाके रहते हैं ना, तो आपको पता चलता है कि ये आपको खुद करना पड़ता है, बाथरूम खुद धोने पड़ते हैं.
Yeah, so I think this is the part where you have this realization कि actually आप कितने comfort में रह रहे थे.
हाँ, तब आपको हिट होता है.
Yeah, कि आप कितने comfort में रह रहे थे और क्या क्या कुछ आपके लिए बस हो जाता था. और कोई कर रहा था.
सोचते भी नहीं थे, छोटी छोटी चीज़ों में सोच रही थी ये कैसे हो रहा है, ये कैसे चल रहा है. और अब जब पढ़ती है खुद पे तो पता चलता है, अच्छा ये बिल भी करना होता है, तो ये गैस का अलग सिस्टम है. लाइक छोटी छोटी चीज़ें में आपको फिर रियलाइज़ होना शुरू होता है. ग्रोसरी में कुछ मिस नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि फिर वो भी एक वो रह गया. Adulthood is like using your brain 24/7.
Yeah.
And especially as creators, we're doing that all the time. We're using our brain 24/7, replying, creating stories.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then add this on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So यहाँ पर obviously major growth आई of becoming an independent adult.
Yeah.
वो कहते हैं ना कि एक आपका होता है कि आपके पास रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ नहीं होती हैं, लेकिन पहले भी हमने एक एम्पावर्ड की बात की, where you travel by yourself and everything. But there was that again that home पीछे जहाँ आप जाते थे, जहाँ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं होती थी.
नहीं पता था. घर मैं ट्रिप पे जाती थी तो मैं एक दिन पहले मामा को मैसेज कर देती थी कि मैं घर आके ये वाली चिकन खाऊंगी, तो ये रोटी घर की होनी चाहिए. एंड अब आप ट्रैवल करके आते हैं तो आपको खुद खड़े होकर पकाना पड़ता है, अगर आपको घर का खाना खाना है, जो आपकी होती है क्रेविंग, राइट. छोटी छोटी चीज़ें आपको आके ही पता चलती हैं. और मुझे अफसोस नहीं है कि लोग मजाक उड़ाते हैं, मीम्स बनाते हैं. अब तो मैं हंसती हूँ. शुरू के दिनों में मैं रोती भी थी, जब बहुत पहले की बात बता रही हूँ. लेकिन अब जो है आपको याद होगा. तो अब जो है मैं कहती हूँ यार ठीक है, मजाक उड़ा लो, तुमने मुझे फेमस कर देना है तो क्या मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
That's true. But what I'm saying is कि like there's that kind of empowerment, and then there's this sense of independence जो आपको realize होती है कि यार जब this is such great responsibility that is a day-to-day thing. And managing that life, like in adulting, there is no break. There's not a single day where you don't have to do anything. And then when you have a child, तो वो तो एक अलग ही story है. But I'm not going to take you into that.
नहीं, true. Because मैं सोचती हूँ कि कैसे कर लेते हैं, अभी मुझसे ये नहीं हो रहा अकेले, तो मैं सोचती हूँ बच्चे वाली अम्माएं कैसे कर लेती हैं.
But see, that's the thing, we underestimate ourselves. Like
with time, I think आप में वो एक strength और
very natural sort of growths.
Yeah, that everyone goes
into it. And then you do it. Like you do it. You learn to do it. But that is not to say that any of this is easy, right? I feel like people who are doing it, they are really like, इसीलिए वो कहते हैं ना कि like मुझे इन सारी चीज़ों को, yeah, these are basic life skills, but a lot of these women, they're doing them entirely and by their own, and they don't have that kind of support or that help. And we need to realize, we need to continue to still glamorize that. And appreciate that. Because they're bringing so much to the table.
Right.
Like without them, everything in that household would collapse.
Definitely. And like I got a lot of appreciation through people who had... Okay, can I speak?
Yeah.
So I got a lot of appreciation from people who had actually moved abroad and experienced this, because so many people said, oh my God, we went through the same cycle when we moved, and we were crying because we were missing family, but we had to cook also, we had to take care of the house also. So it was like a mix of both the things together. So I think with time you learn. And like right now, like the last time I went, I was dying to come back home. So it's like, you tend to get more comfortable in your space with time. Everything
फिर आदत हो जाती है उस इंडिपेंडेंस की
और अकेलेपन की,
खामोशी की it's my favorite thing. अब तो I crave it ना, like अच्छा सुबह बस मेरे पास वो मेरी स्पेस हो और मैं बस अपने सोचूं और अपना उसमें वो गुजारूं, एंड इतना कुछ उसके अंदर से भी निकलता है, being by yourself. तो अच्छा, so ये हुआ. Now we're going to talk about another very major thing that happened in your life, and I would assume that changed a lot for you, like changed a lot of life's perspective for you.
100%.
And that's when you had a health scare. Massive.
I knew where you're coming. That's why I knew 100%.
So let's talk about that. क्या हुआ?
Okay, क्या हुआ ये कि I got married in December and Jan में I wasn't supposed to come to Pakistan, but it was my sister's birthday and I was missing family, and my mom was supposed to have a very choti si surgery, but I planned to surprise my family, so I went back surprising everyone, and like it was a great trip. But during my trip I was facing a lot of like extreme eye movement, extreme eye movement right or left में मुझे थोड़ा सा पेन हो रहा था.
सिर्फ पेन हो रहा था?
सिर्फ पेन.
What did you, when you would move your eye, it would hurt?
Yeah, when you move like this and this, so your extreme muscle felt like it was stretched.
Okay.
So एक आई में हो रहा था, तो आई फेल, पहले मैंने पेन किलर्स दी, मैंने कहा शायद मेरी आंखें थकी हुई हैं, नींद पूरी नहीं हुई हुई, छोटी छोटी चीज़ों में आई थॉट कि कोई और बात है, कुछ और है. सो I was a 6-day trip. So on my 6th day, I had a shoot for a brand in a mall, which is also a makeup collaboration. So मुझे था कि मैं उसी दिन I was flying back. उसी दिन I decided कि सुबह में I'll just go see the doctor, just in case, because I didn't yet have my health insurance in UAE. So I was like, you know what? I'll just show him for the sake of it. I went to the doctor and he said it's nothing, it's a little bit of inflammation, just use these drops and you're going to be fine. I was like, okay, there's nothing to worry about. Should I stay? I asked him, I said, should I stay because I'm in UAE or मैं वहाँ पे मेरे पास health insurance नहीं है? He was like, no, nothing like that. You can go.
You weren't insured. Your health wasn't insured.
Back then, no. Because I had just moved.
अभी हुआ ही नहीं था.
हाँ, मैं honeymoon से वापस ही Thailand से आई थी 4th या 5th को. And I think in the next 10 to 15 days I went back. So इतना टाइम ही नहीं मिला था मुझे कि मैं कुछ भी कर सकूं. एंड आई थिंक बेस्ट केस सिनेरियो में तो आप ये सोचते हैं ना कि आपको कुछ नहीं होगा, like you're not planning way too much, and there was too much. when I moved, there was an empty house that we had to fill in, and like we had to do so much.
Obviously, like बंदा ऐसा चीजें करता है, अभी तक वहाँ नहीं पहुँचे थे.
हाँ. तो फिर he said that, and I was at the mall and I was shooting, and मैंने अपने वीडियोग्राफर से मजाक में भी बोला, मैंने कहा मुझे सही से दिख नहीं रहा, एंड मेरे बहुत दर्द भी हो रहा था सर में, बट आई केप्ट टेकिंग द पेन किलर, लाइक कि बस सर का दर्द है, क्योंकि मुझे यूजली माइग्रेन्स होते हैं, बट दिस वाज वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अ माइग्रेन. इट वाज मोर फोकस्ड हियर एंड इट वाज शार्प, बट आई वाज लाइक maybe I'm overworked and maybe whatever, like I was just giving myself those reasons. However, I did Google my symptoms, and I knew I had optic neuritis because I did feel a little bit of vision going down, and I did feel the pain was exactly how it was described in optic neuritis. So I had even sent a screenshot to my dad, and I was like, I think I have this. And he said, beta mat jao, just stay, हम तुम्हें किसी और डॉक्टर के पास दिखाते हैं. अच्छा, I went to one of the best doctors. तो मैंने कहा नहीं बाबा, हम उनको दिखा के आए हैं, I don't want to name him. तो मैंने कहा कुछ नहीं होगा, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं होगी, प्रॉब्ली अगर होगी भी तो it says it resolves on its own. अच्छा, उस पर ये लिखा था resolves on its own. मैंने कहा चलो worst case scenario अगर मुझे हो भी गया तो it will resolve on its own. बट कहते ना बड़ों की बात माननी चाहिए. नहीं मानी मैंने. फिर मैं चली गई एयरपोर्ट, वहीं से डायरेक्ट माई सिस्टर वॉज पिकिंग मी अप. आई वेंट टू द एयरपोर्ट. अच्छा, फ्लाइट में मैसिव हेडेक, मतलब इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग हेडेक कि आई वॉज वेयरिंग अ हुडी. आई हैड टू कवर माई आईज कम्प्लीटली बिकॉज आई कुडंट इवन सी दोज डल लाइट्स ऑफ द प्लेन. एंड I just ate so I could have my headache medicine. I remember landed in Dubai and I was at the, जहाँ से सामान मिलता है, baggage counter. हाँ, baggage claim में. And this girl, she was very sweet. She met me. She was talking to me. I don't remember what I was, zoned out. I was having a lot of headache, and she said, I saw your snaps. You surprised your family. And I was like, yeah. But after that, I don't remember that conversation. I just don't remember her face. I don't remember seeing anything. Because मैंने अपना hoodie इतना cover किया था because my head was like banging. अच्छा, so my husband was working that night, so I told him कि तुम काम सुबह उठना है. So I was a very late night flight, 3 a.m. I was landing. So I was like, I'll come directdirectly and you just be resting at home. So when I reached home myself with a cab, he was sleeping and I went to sleep. फौरन ही, मतलब मैं बस लैंड होते ही मैं घर गई, नमाज पढ़ी मैंने and I slept. सुबह मैं उठी, my husband had already left, and you know, you casually pick up your phone and you're lying down in bed and you use your phone. So I'm just casually lying and I'm like, मुझे कुछ सही से दिख क्यों नहीं रहा? Like I was like, तो मैंने ये वाली करवट ली, and then this करवट I could see a little bit. So I was like, okay, maybe I've just woke up. My eyes rub किए जा रही हूँ, and like it's like weird, right? And then I was like, oh, क्या हो गया? Like किस आँख में कुछ चला गया, like, right? So I did this. And then I did this. And I'm not kidding, Hamna. My vision was blacked out for one eye. This much. Like, I could only see, जैसे अभी मैं यहाँ बैठी हूँ, I could only see that light on top. And like 80 to 90% it was gone. And not by gone, I do not mean blur. I do not mean, it was black. It was pitch black. I freaked out. I am home alone.
Maybe. I feel so. मुझे तो कुछ goosebumps हो गए.
Imagine. You wake up and you know, and this is something you cannot even think about. Like, आप सभी सोच नहीं सकते कि आप एक दिन उठेंगे और आपकी एक आंख नहीं काम कर रही होगी, right? Like, this is like weird. And I start freaking out, and there's no one obviously at home. So I don't want to give my parents the stress. So I call, I don't even call. I just message my friend who I usually kabhi speak to in the mornings because she's up for her kids and stuff. So I was like, are you up? So she said, yeah. I said, I'm going to call you, but you just listen to me. So I called her and I'm crying. And I remember my house was a little empty back then. I didn't have a sofa. So I zameen pe baith ke, and I was just like crying. And she was like, okay, Saman, you're scaring me. What happened? Like, she's like, is Anas okay? Like, what happened? Are you in Pakistan? She didn't even know I was in Pakistan or I was in Dubai. She was like, what happened? Is everything okay? Did something happen? खुदा ना खास्ता उसे लगा कोई बात हो गई, कोई मर गया, क्या हो गया? मतलब, she was asking me so many questions and I was like, मुझे बस नज़र नहीं आ रहा. That's what I kept saying. I said, I can't see. मुझे नज़र नहीं आ रहा. So she's also like a घर, मतलब she's my best friend. तो वो मुझे घर वालों को भी जानती है. तो she instantly messaged my sister. My sister called me. She's like, क्या? अच्छा, my sister dropped me to the airport. तो मैं उस टाइम पे जो मैंने उसका सेल्फी ली थी ना, that's also like this. So she was like, why you ringing? And I was like, मुझे सही से नज़र नहीं आ रहा. तो she was like, कि तुम क्यों जा रही हो? तुम रुक जाओ. मैंने उसकी भी नहीं सुनी थी. तो she knew instantly जब मैंने कहा, उसने मरियम ने मुझसे बताया, तो she knew instantly कि कुछ बात हो गई है. So she is like, okay, I'm going to call my friend. You want somebody to come over? And I'm like, no. I'm like, please don't tell mama, papa. Like, I'm like, don't tell mom, don't tell dad. And she's like, don't think about anything right now. Just tell me what's happening. I'm like, मुझे नज़र नहीं आ रहा. She's like, what is it like? I'm like, it's black. And I'm calling Anas constantly, but he's not picking up because his nature of job is कि वो ज़्यादा phone नहीं देख सकता.
He's working, yeah.
हाँ. So then you don't know what to do, right? You're just like alone, and you're just on your phone. And then my dad calls me, and then he's like, so obviously my sister was freaking out, so she told my parents. And my dad, ये अच्छा सुबह का टाइम बता रही हूँ, 8 बजे का. तो पाकिस्तान में 9 बज रहे होंगे, या 8 बजे का टाइम बता रही हूँ, तो पाकिस्तान में 8 बज रहे थे. तो सुबह, and then this is from मेरी अम्मी मुझे बताती हैं कि she was sleeping and my dad wakes up and she's like, क्या नहीं हो रहा? Like करते he wakes up from the bed and then he goes out so that my mom doesn't feel stressed out. I said, क्या नहीं आ रहा? Like, that's what he keeps saying. And then my mom was telling me this, and then she's like, she instantly knew it was me. Something was wrong with me. And then my dad's like everyone's like in the, ये मैं सबकी stories अलग-अलग सुनती हूँ कि कौन क्या किस तरह से गुजर रहा था. But at that time, I remember Anas just called me back at that time and he was like, I'm coming right now, relax, calm down, I'm coming. He came home and I just hug him and I cry like crazy. And I'm like, because I had also messaged him with the optic neuritis screenshot, and everyone at that point knew that something major has happened. And we don't know what. We have never experienced this before, but we have to deal with it. So instantly we go to the hospital, and obviously it's new. I don't have insurance. We don't know which hospital is going to take me. So we go from one place to another, and then finally one good hospital, they nearby. हमने कहा जितनी जल्दी जहाँ भी. They say go to a big hospital. I don't know if I can name. So we just went to that hospital. And at that moment, I am just thinking that, okay, my life is maybe over.
Yeah.
And maybe, this is it. Like, I'm thinking, I have experienced the life with 2 eyes and now maybe it's just time. बिकॉज ऐसा नहीं, अच्छा देखो आप अगर ऐसे देखते हो ना आपको ऐसे पता नहीं चलेगा, लेकिन जब आप ऐसे देखना शुरू करते हो ना तो आपकी इस आंख की भी विजन कम हो जाती है बिकॉज ये खुली हुई है.
They work together.
सो जब एक नहीं काम करती तो आपको सही से नज़र नहीं आता कुछ भी, ठीक है. और जब पूरे रास्ते या जब भी मैं बस सोच रही थी कि अच्छा बस दिस इज़ इट, जितनी मैंने ज़िंदगी देखनी थी शायद मैंने देख ली और अब मेरी वो नहीं रहेगी विजन जैसी थी. बट अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं ज़िंदा हूँ या मैं अभी भी हूँ, मतलब एग्जिस्ट कर रही हूँ या जो भी है. The doctor came, she instantly picked it up. She said, you have a classic case of optic neuritis. Very good doctor, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह. मैं बहुत खुश हूँ एक्चुअली कि मैं दुबई में थी, बिकॉज आप सोचते हैं हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस नहीं है, खर्चा ज़्यादा हो गया, बट Hamna, the doctor I got, the treatment I got, she was Arabic. She was a local, I think, and we actually went to a local hospital. So I'm really glad कि उन्होंने मुझे देखा और उन्होंने मुझे फ़ौरन पिक किया. She said अगर आपको वापस पाकिस्तान जाना है क्योंकि it was cheaper, तो आप जा सकती हैं. But she said I want you to start the steroid today. She said if you don't do that today, the more you delay, the more vision will go out and the less chances of the vision coming back.
Okay, so there's a chance that it might not ever come back?
Yeah, there's a chance it might not ever come back. She said we don't give any guarantees, but she said chances are that it can come back. So you never know. And I don't even remember कि मैं उस वक्त किससे बात की या क्या की, बस I remember that my husband asked me and he's like, I think we should stay here. And I was like, okay. And बस it was अच्छा यहाँ के हॉस्पिटल्स में थोड़ा ट्रेंड अलग है. आप लेडीज़ वार्ड होता है, it's not a private room. तो मुझे अकेले रहना पड़ा. Anas couldn't stay. I didn't have a lady family member who could stay. रात में रहने का कोई फ़ायदा नहीं था. But what these next 3-4 days जो mentally मैंने सफ़र किया, because मुझे लगा कि बस ख़त्म हो गया, right? I just thought it's done and I have to start living like this. And like I was silent, and I remember like I didn't want to, nobody asked me if they want to post online, but I think my sister did. And then people started praying and people started posting, and a lot of people posted, and then Anas posted from my account, and then I was just silent. In those days, I don't remember speaking to anyone. My mom came in, she surprised me. I did not even, I think, smile. I had no, I think I was a different person, and I just feel like I lost my emotions, and I did not know how to progress and how to process this and how to move on from here, like what to do, right? Until unless, because मेरा treatment हो रहा है और मुझे दवाएं मिल रही हैं और मेरे सर में दर्द होता है, and I'm just like मैं इधर करवट पे हूँ तो मैं there is nothing, right? I'm not doing anything. I'm just in bed waiting कि कब वापस आएगी, vision आएगा नहीं आएगा, the question, and then
just the uncertainty, right? Like
अभी तो मैं सोच भी नहीं रही कि बाद में क्यों हुआ या रीज़न क्या था या आगे क्या क्या होगा, डायग्नोसिस क्या है. अभी तो एक कंडीशन है और वो कंडीशन ये है कि मेरी आईज़ की एक आँख में विजन चला गया. तो अब क्या होगा ये सोचना या जो भी, बस I was like a dead person. And I just want to thank everyone because so many people sent so many prayers. I don't even know who sent me prayers because I was just, and I still like कभी-कभी मुझे कोई DM करता है तो मैं ऊपर जाके देखती हूँ उन्होंने मुझे दुआ दी हुई होती है, because at that time I was not using my phone. I was not talking to anyone. I was just there. And जो आते भी थे मिलने, I remember मैं चुप होती थी. Like I've left. I feel like मैं वो इंसान ही नहीं रही जो मैं थी, क्योंकि मैंने शायद जो मैं मतलब जब मैं पहले थी, that excited, that crazy girl, अभी भी मैं वापस slowly I'm getting there, but I think at that time I just lost myself completely. So yeah, that happened, and then I got medications and stuff. I still have to do a lot of tests. I still don't have a proper diagnosis. That's why I have never really talked about it, because a lot of people ask me, but I can't say anything. मुझे नहीं पता मुझे क्या है, अभी तक नहीं पता.
Sometimes they say that it could be idiopathic, but it could also be a manifestation, like a symptom of an underlying thing.
Yeah. They link it with multiple sclerosis.
Yeah.
But
I thought so.
Yeah, but I still don't know because I have done a few scans, but not all the scans. And I'm doing them slowly because it's expensive.
Yeah.
And
taxing
one test
also.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about the expensive. It's about my mental woe. When I go into a room where I have to just lie down and just be breathing and not move because that's how the scans
The
are.
MRI, yeah.
So I've done 3 MRIs now, but it's I'm claustrophobic. मुझे बहुत सांस का problem शुरू हो जाता है, and I'm just not mentally ready to find out, I would say. The doctor has said this will not repeat in the next 2 years. I'm giving myself time. She said it's okay, take your time, but don't take too long. So within 2 years, I've decided I'm going to do these tests and figure out what I have. Until then, I'm just preparing myself, I would call it. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think that this incident changed your general overall perception about life?
Definitely, Hamna. When
पहले क्या सोचती थी, अब क्या सोचती हो?
अब मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि पहले मैं ये सोचती थी कि बहुत बड़ा बनना है, पैसे कमाने हैं, यहाँ जाना है, वो करना है, दुनिया घूमनी है, प्रिटेंशियस चीज़ें हैं, ये लेना है, वो करना है. जब ये हुआ तो कहते हैं ना, आपकी एक आंख बंद हो गई, लेकिन मुझे उस एक आंख से बहुत कुछ नज़र आना शुरू हो गया. एंड आई सॉ व्हाट आई वाज गेटिंग इनटू, द trap that I was getting into, and I was getting into a rat race, and I was thinking about things which are just for this world, and I started looking into things that should matter more. So I started, although मैं हमेशा से नमाज वगैरह पढ़ती थी, but I started getting closer to the religion. I started getting to read more, study more, मतलब मैं उसमें घुसना शुरू हो गई. The kind of things that you think कि मुझे ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, पैसे कमाने हैं, मुझे वो सब इतना फेक लगने लगा. मुझे सब लगने लगा ये क्या बकवास है, ये क्या सोच रहे थे हम, ये क्या कर रहे होते थे, रिलेशनशिप वैल्यू बहुत बड़ी. मुझे लगता है मेरी अपने हस्बैंड के लिए बहुत रिस्पेक्ट बढ़ी. He got married and he had to deal with something which he did not deserve. Going to the hospital.
बस अभी शादी हुई थी, and such a big responsibility.
And then taking care of me like a baby, because I was dead. I was just like silent, right? Though he did not deserve this, and he took care of me like a baby, and I feel like that was beautiful. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Even I am, so I don't know.
Yeah. And then valuing relationships. I saw what people, कितना मेरी फिक्र है, कितना प्यार करते हैं. मुझे दिखना शुरू हुआ कि value क्या है.
The more meaningful side of life.
My parents left everything. They came to Dubai. They came for me, and I've never. My dad would never take me out to the cinema, but I remember Shah Rukh Khan's movie had released, and मैंने अनस को last year से बोला था कि जब वो release होगी तो मैं पहला show देखूंगी. Yes, Pathaan. I'm a huge Shah Rukh Khan fan. So जब वो हुआ तो बाबा was like कि नहीं, मुझे दिख नहीं रहा था, but he was like कि हम जाएंगे और पठान देखेंगे.
That is so heartwarming.
Because he hates Shah Rukh Khan. He hates Bollywood, but he was like हम देखेंगे. So we did go out, and I still remember I was not able to see properly, but the commentary from my dad and Anas was watching a Bollywood movie in the cinema for the first time. So it was very interesting combination. The movie was bad, so it was more funny. And slowly I started seeing that the relationships I have hold more value than any financial value can ever hold. I don't want to get into a rat race. Yes, I want to make enough money to financially stabilize my household, but I don't want to, मैं एक्स्ट्रा नहीं होना चाहती थी कि मैं पागल हो जाऊँ पैसे के पीछे, या जो कि मुझे लगता है मैं एक टाइम पे बहुत हो रही थी कि इस महीने इतने कमाने हैं, या ये करना है, या ये भी करना है, या वो भी करना है. आई एम राइट नाउ इन अ जोन वेयर आई एम लाइक इतना चाहिए जो इनफ हो जाए. मैंशन नहीं चाहिए, घर चाहिए. एक डिफरेंस आ गया है बातों में, फीलिंग्स में, मेच्योरिटी में. वैल्यू हेल्थ को, खाने को, कि क्या खा रहे हैं, क्या पी रहे हैं, देखना है. अभी भी आई ईट अ लॉट ऑफ जंक, आई वोंट लाई, बट देन आई ऑल्सो थिंक ऑफ दैट लाइक यार छोटी सी जिंदगी है, you'd rather enjoy and whatever. But more responsibility, I feel like, more religious in terms, different things. I'm still the same girl, who used to enjoy life and stuff, but I think बस आंखें खुल गई, बंद होके आंखें खुल गई.
My God. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's for me, what happened to you was like watching my own worst fear play out. क्योंकि मुझे it's like मुझे हमेशा से like होता है कि आँखें जो है ना, like उनको कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए. Like I've had a bunch of like eye problems in life, never this bad, but bad. तो मैं थोड़ा सा भी हो यार आँख को कुछ ठीक है, मतलब वो bad ही होता है. And this is on another level. So I mean I can't even, और वो जो चीज़ें हुई थोड़ी बहुत भी मुझे, उससे मुझे ऑब्वियसली आपकी हर बॉडी के हिस्से की वैल्यू होती है, बट दिस इज़ द वन थिंग जो कि क्योंकि मैं थोड़ा बहुत एक्सपीरियंस कर चुकी हूँ तो मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा इस चीज़ की वैल्यू है. एंड देन दिस हैपनिंग टू यू, इट वाज जस्ट लाइक ओ माई गॉड, लाइक ये क्या हो गया है ना. मतलब मैं मुझसे तो लाइक आई वाज जस्ट लाइक, एंड इवन दैट्स व्हाई लाइक थ्रू व्हेन यू शेयर्ड योर एक्सपीरियंस, I felt like, I don't know, I went into this state of hyper empathy for some reason. Like I literally like मुझे अपनी बॉडी में फील हुआ है ये पूरी कॉन्वर्सेशन. यू नो लाइक आई एब्जॉर्ब्ड, आई लाइक लिटरली एब्जॉर्ब्ड योर इमोशंस. मुझे इस तरह फील हुआ. सो या आई मीन आई दैट्स व्हाई आई अंडरस्टैंड इट मस्ट हैव बीन लाइक आपकी लाइफ में ऐसे कुछ इंसिडेंट्स होते हैं, एंड आई हैव हैड अ कपल of them in my life, very different, not like this, but a couple of them in my life, actually 4 incidents in my life that have had the similar impact on me, of you know the change of perception,
eye-opener type situation.
Eye-opener life ke yaar, life is not about all of this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good to enjoy. You should have a good time. You should do your stuff, but you should also be careful about what you're doing. Thinking that is very important.
Living a more meaningful, authentic, and mindful life.
Mindful, definitely.
Not just one जो कि बस जो आप. It's more like you have to be connected internally. It's like being in tune.
Yeah.
And not just what's happening on the outside. Bilkul. So it's more metaphysical than physical. Sort of a thing. Yeah.
And it's also, I feel like as a Muslim, I feel like I had to be awakened a lot in a lot of ways. तो I think मेरे लिए वो बहुत बड़ी एक I think एक मैं तो कहती हूँ एक चीज़ ख़राब होती है लेकिन फिर कुछ अच्छा हो जाता है उसकी वजह से. आई थिंक मेरी लाइफ में अच्छा हो गया.
अच्छा हो गया उसकी वजह से. हाँ, बहुत बड़ी ग्रोथ आई. सो ये हुआ, फिर लाइफ में आपने मूव ऑन किया, एंड यू आर नाउ हियर इन दुबई एंड navigating through adulthood and married life and doing everything by yourself. What are some of the things that are sort of like the themes of your life now? Like, okay, अब मेरे ये goals हैं और मैं life में अब इस पे focused हूँ. Because like recently you started your own business as well. So what's happening in your life right now?
I think what's happening in my life is, so when I moved here to Dubai, I thought my content creation journey would be very easy. There's so many brands and like, you know, I keep working with the Pakistani brands. It's going to keep going.
Opportunity.
हाँ, like सब चलता रहेगा, सही है. लेकिन जब मैं actually आई तो मुझे realize हुआ, especially obviously because of my health also, I was not creating content for some time. But I did feel like, so I had to archive all my posts because of the hijab. So I did that. So
hijab.
Yeah, we never spoke about that.
We will talk about it. Okay.
So I had to archive all of that. So I lost all of my portfolio, I would say, right? So I had to remove everything because of that. I felt like I had nothing to show to the brands that ये मैंने किया हुआ है या ये है. And it was just in writing then, right? If I write to you as a portfolio, I wouldn't have pictures to show, but I would have text to write. So it was like that, nothing to show. And the number of views and blah, 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 blah. And it just seems like a sad profile with like certain posts. And then a lot of followers. So where did the followers come from? It looks fake, right? So that happened. And then me getting back to creating content was difficult after this, right? So I did not get a lot of brand opportunities, paid work opportunities. I did get a few, but it was not enough to drive my home, basically, because we both manage our finances together and we मतलब हम सब divide करते हैं, bills वगैरह, everything. So that's when it started hitting me कि okay, this won't work and I need to figure out a way to get ahead of this. And I'm okay, sorry.
ये फिर से बोल दो, figure out a way to get.
Figure out a way ahead and like to make it sustainable in some way. So I had some savings lying around. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा कोई business कुछ करते हैं. तो this friend of mine came and she was like, I have this house help, uska husband hai, he wants to invest in a business, he's a tailor. And I was like, okay. And then I looked at the numbers and stuff and I was like, okay, this sounds good, we can actually work around it. So then we three decided that we're going to work on this together. So this was actually my first technical business, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm doing big things now, because
it is a big thing.
Yeah, you're using your savings, and I also drive it. So one of my partner is a sleeping partner, and the other one is the tailor himself, jo kaam karta hai. So it's like a three of us, and I'm driving the business.
Doing it.
Yes. So मुझे बहुत excitement हुई कि okay, something I can call mine and something I can, it's mine, right? तो एक ये करी थी, फिर मैंने कहा वो savings waste हो जाएंगी, तो उसको मैं कहीं लगा दूँ तो ज़्यादा अच्छा है. And then I didn't have a job. I kept struggling to find a job. मुझे वो नहीं मिली because my dentistry का experience है. I haven't given the exams, and I was looking into something related to marketing because मुझे शौक है. But obviously that's a big
gap there.
Yeah. So वो नहीं हो रहा था. तो आई वॉज स्ट्रेसिंग आउट विद एवरी पासिंग डे कि फाइनेंसेस कैसे होंगे. अच्छा, लोगों को बहुत लगता है देख के कि ये तो ट्रैवल करती रहती है, इसकी लाइफ तो बहुत, इसको तो पास पैसे बहुत हैं. ऐसा नहीं है. ट्रैवल इज़ अ प्रायोरिटी फॉर मी बिकॉज मुझे अच्छा लगता है और इट ड्राइव्स मी, एंड स्पेशली टू कम आउट ऑफ दिस फेज दैट आई वॉज इन. इट वॉज इम्पॉर्टेंट टू लेट मी रिमाइंड माई सेल्फ दैट आई एम स्टिल दैट ओल्ड someone who keeps traveling and who keeps doing what she loves. So that comes in, I wouldn't eat out, Hamna. I wouldn't go out in a taxi. I wouldn't do things, but I would cut that down and I would put it in my travel fund. So that's how it used to work. And it still does because मेरी priorities अलग हैं, right? अगर मैं अपने भाई और बहन से बात करूँ, they'll be like, you're stupid, because I would rather save that money and I would eat out every day or whatever. But हर किसी की अपनी वो होती हैं. So, sorry, मैं बहुत ही out of direction चली जाती हूँ. But yeah, sorry, what was I saying? खुद ही चली गई और भूल गई.
Yeah, so you're just telling me how your life looks right now, and so, you have the tailoring thing. Yeah.
So then I actually wanted, because I was a new hijabi, and I wanted to work on something that reflects me also, because मैं जब मॉल जाती हूँ तो मुझे हर जगह ऊंचे टखने वाले कपड़े मिलते हैं जो ऊंचे होते हैं, या जो स्लीव्स यहाँ होती हैं, या कुछ ना कुछ कहीं से मसला होता है.
Yeah, because you're basically embracing the full modesty package, right? Like वो सितर कहते हैं शायद इसको,
मुझे नहीं पता क्या
कहते हैं. हाँ, कि वो
पूरा covered हो,
what areas should be covered.
Yeah. तो मेरा अब जैसे अभी भी लोग जो मुझे देख रहे होंगे बोलेंगे वो तो बाल दिख रहे हैं, बट मुझे हमने बताया था 95% ऑडियंस फीमेल है, and I am guessing सारी लड़कियां ही देख रही हैं. And also I feel like थोड़ा बहुत मैं भी अभी अपने आप को कभी कभी लूज छोड़ देती हूँ, because the band itself, it gives you a lot of headache, and especially when I have to do these conferences or I have to talk a lot, I try to keep it a little loose and easy on myself.
Right, it's okay. You wanna make it easy for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
and
okay.
I'm learning. I'm getting better with time, and this is a huge change for me.
Yeah,
which I'm embracing every day.
That like making a decision like this, it's such a huge change.
Yeah, huge.
Humongous.
Yeah, I mean it's not definable in words. I feel like it's very
big. And you said that you're navigating into a new country, and trying to build yourself as a content creator here, with nothing to show proof, right? Yeah, your career. But you still made this decision. That is so brave.
Yeah.
Like people wouldn't like. अपनी बात कर लूँ, like चलो खैर मैं तो content creator हूँ, but like लोगों के लिए ठीक है, like it's वैसे it's not easy. And then such a huge thing कि आपके सारा portfolio है वो technically. It's like your CV, right? But you have to remove it, and you still have to make your way. I just think it's so brave, and I feel like you're going to get rewarded in ways you can't even imagine. Like, I'm glad this is being recorded today because we will come back to this when you get that reward, inshallah. Because like I know you will be rewarded for it. And in things that you felt that you sacrificed because of it, those will come back 10 times.
I feel like मुझे एक्चुअली लोगों ने थोड़ा मुश्किल कराया है हिजाब करना, बट मैंने जब एक्चुअली शुरू किया है तो मुझे बिल्कुल मुश्किल नहीं लगा. मुझे एक्चुअली बहुत अच्छा लगा वो पिक्चर्स आर्काइव करना और वो वीडियोस आर्काइव, और मुझे लगा जैसे अल्लाह ताला ने मुझे बुलाया और मुझे कहा कि ये करो, यू नो, और बस मैंने सुन ली, मुझे ऐसा लगा. सो आई फील लाइक I have zero regrets for removing anything that I did, and I will never, because I feel like अभी भी मैं देखती हूँ आईने में, कभी कभी तैयार होती हूँ और अनस को दिखाती हूँ, कहती अच्छी लग रही हूँ. He's like, no, with the hijab you look better. So these kind of words are also motivating, and for me also, it's like, okay, ठीक है, I look nice, but I can look nice for my husband. I can look nice for my friends, girlfriends. I can look nice for my mom if that's the nice criteria. But if I have to cover myself and if I have to do it for the world, then the world is just temporary. So it's so I'm in such a flow right now that this is all going great, alhamdulillah. Career wise, yes, I was sent back a little, but then I started creating content a lot, and you have to start from scratch. So आप छोटे मोटे काम इस तरह के भी ले रहे होते हैं और आप हर चीज़ कर रहे होते हैं और आप फाइनेंशियली स्ट्रगल भी कर रहे होते हैं, बट मुझे लगता है कि आप बड़ी पिक्चर देखें. आप ये नहीं देखें कि टेम्परेरीली आपको मसला हो रहा है या आप स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं. And you're going to start,
and you're taking those small steps that are eventually going to lead to that big picture, right?
Yeah, and I'm so glad I'm here in the UAE because I feel like यहाँ लोग हिजाब को ज़्यादा वैल्यू करते हैं, एक्सेप्टेंस ज़्यादा है ब्रांड्स को. यही चीज़ मुझे लगता है इतनी शायद पाकिस्तान में नहीं, क्योंकि ज़्यादातर लोग नहीं करते हिजाब, लेकिन यहाँ पे आई फील लाइक I'm blessed to be here because I'm surrounded by a community who loves doing the hijab, right? And who is क्या कहते हैं उसको, who is मतलब hand in hand जाता है इनका यहाँ पे कि Arabs का classic वो इसी तरह तैयार होते हैं, so it becomes easier.
Like they have a lot of pride in their clothing, and not just like not just women in hijabs or like abayas, but like you see Arab men. उनकी मॉडस्ट क्लोथिंग है एंड दे आर वेरी कंफर्टेबल इन दैट. अभी हम लोग एक कॉन्फ्रेंस पे थे, वहाँ से आए हैं, तो वहाँ पे एक टॉक एक अरब बंदे ने दी. पाकिस्तान में मैं सोच भी नहीं सकती कि एक प्रोफेशनल बंदा ऐसी जगह पे कॉन्फ्रेंस पे एक टॉक देने आए और वो शलवार कमीज़ में आए.
100% नहीं हो सकता,
क्योंकि वो प्राइड नहीं है ना, बट he was in his thobe and his I don't know what the head thing is called, but yeah.
नहीं, यहाँ पे ऑब्वियसली वो अपने उसको बहुत कल्चर को बहुत वो
वैल्यू करता है.
बहुत अच्छी बात है.
हाँ, मतलब उनके अंदर वो कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं है ना.
नहीं है. बिल्कुल, वो जीन्स पहन के या वो क्या पैंट्स पहन के नहीं आते, बिकॉज they think that what they're wearing is good enough. And I agree.
You said कि लोगों ने मुश्किल किया. ये तो बताएं.
ये आपको खुद पता चल जाएगा अभी आपके कमेंट्स में, जब लोग बोलेंगे ना इसके बाल नज़र आ रहे हैं या ये हो रहा है वो हो रहा है. हम ना आई फील लाइक लाइफ बड़ी इजी है, बट हमने अपने लिए मुश्किल कर दी है ब्लॉग बना के. क्योंकि हमें शौक था पैसे कमाने का और कुछ करने का, अच्छा करने का, तो हमने फिर लोगों को मौका दिया कि आओ हमें गालियाँ दो और खुश हो जाओ. On a lighter note, on a serious note, a lot of people do appreciate me, and a lot of people say, you know, this is a huge step, and a lot of people are struggling with the same thing, so they appreciate that. But having said that, a lot of people also send me hate that this is not hijab. What is the hijab? Is hijab covering yourself? Is hijab modesty? Is hijab leaving something that is for the world? I don't know. Hijab, I feel, is a step. It's a step towards self-improvement and getting closer to the religion. That is hijab for me. If this was my step 1, and let's say I love music and I love dancing, and that wasn't my step 1, that is okay. Maybe that's my step 3, or maybe that's step 500. You know, for me, it becomes difficult. So I recently posted a Shah Rukh Khan ki event ki video, and it went viral. And people are fighting on that video कि comments खुद ही आपस में लड़े. मुझे कुछ नहीं करना पड़ा. शाहरुख खान फैंस आते हैं, सपोर्ट करते हैं, दूसरे फैंस आते हैं, वो बुरा भला कहते हैं. सो द लड़ाई इज़ क्योंकि मैं हिजाब में हूँ तो मैं स्क्रूटनाइज हो रही हूँ, बिकॉज आई क्राइड ओवर सीइंग समबडी दैट आई हैव सीन ऑल माई लाइफ ऑन TV, and I have loved him like a fan, and now that I see him in real life, I got emotional.
Okay.
Very normal for me.
Very normal.
And yes. I think very normal for a person who has actually seen someone and become a fan. And बहुत अच्छा, मतलब आपको कोई लगता हो, बचपन से आपने देखा हो, बहुत साल से आपने सोचा हो ये मोमेंट होगा तो कैसा
होगा. In this entire thing there is no problem.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
because you're not a problematic person. That's why you think so.
Some people might disagree.
Yeah, some people, a lot of people might disagree. So a lot of people did come in the comments and like they were commenting and saying that you're crying over a human, you should be thinking about religion and you should be thinking about God. My point is,
Acha.
everything is different, right? I'm a Muslim, yes, it shows, right? Now because पहले दिखता नहीं था तो कोई कुछ नहीं बोलता था,
लेकिन पता था लोगों को, लेकिन अब
कुछ-
आपने हिजाब ले लिया.
अब हिजाब ले लिया तो मैं इतनी कि you are representing
Okay.
the Muslim culture. No, I'm not representing the Muslim culture. I have to be answerable about my sins in front of God. You have to be answerable in front of your God. Like, everyone has their own life. And just because I post a video on the internet does not mean that and I'm not saying I was right. I'm not saying I was wrong. I was not right. I was in my element. You don't like it, you don't enjoy it, move ahead. You want to follow idols who talk about religion, you follow them. But my page, you're new, you don't know about it, but my page used to be about, I used to post dance videos, right? I love dancing, so I used to post dance videos. My Mehndi was a huge event. I have done so much, जो कि मैं एक proper अगर Islamic उसमें आऊँ, तो I don't categorize myself as a proper perfectionist wala Muslim.
ठीक है.
Yes, I used to pray 5 times a day. I haven't left namaz in a long time. I don't remember how many years. मगर मैं पिक्चर परफेक्ट मुस्लिम नहीं हूँ, ठीक है, लेकिन मैं एक जर्नी पे आई हूँ. इस साल ही मैंने एक जर्नी शुरू की है जो मैं चाहती हूँ कि आगे बढ़े. विद टाइम आई वॉन्ट टू इम्प्रूव एंड आई वॉन्ट टू गेट बेटर. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But I feel like just because now I started wearing the hijab, people question me more. I was at a wedding and I have covered myself fully. मेरे बाल भी नहीं नज़र आ रहे थे, ठीक है, बाल नहीं नज़र आ रहे थे, पूरा मैं covered थी. मेरा outfit tight नहीं था, लेकिन मेरा outfit पे आगे यहाँ पे दुपट्टा नहीं था, but it was loose, जैसे मैंने अभी पहना हुआ है, ठीक है. उस पे भी लोग आए, बोला ये किस तरह की modesty है, right? सो मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता कि अगर आपको कोई चीज़ नहीं पसंद आ रही या आप नहीं चाहते आपके घर के बच्चे देखें या जो भी आपके है, ठीक है, तो आप आगे बढ़ जाएं. बट कमेंटिंग एंड जस्ट लेटिंग समबडी नो, एंड यू डोंट नो व्हाट जर्नी देयर ऑन, यू डोंट नो माई पास्ट, यू डोंट नो द हेल्थ इशूज दैट आई फेस्ड, यू डोंट नो व्हाट आई स्ट्रगल्ड विद, कमिंग इन एंड अटैकिंग. एंड ऑनेस्टली आई डोंट केयर नाउ, because I know what I am, I know my relationship with God, I know how badly I'm trying to be better. So I feel like I don't really care about them. But I just wanted to say this out loud, that you should be a little more empathetic on the internet. You should be a little calm on the internet. Like, don't take out your frustrations on somebody else. And I'm talking, this woman who targeted me was wearing a mini skirt in her profile picture. Or I think on her profile, I don't remember because my friend pointed that out. मैंने उसकी profile भी नहीं check की. मेरी friend ने मुझे भेजा कि देखो इसकी अपनी picture में इसने mini skirt पहनी हुई है. मैंने कहा मैं कभी भी इस तरह की बात नहीं बोलूँगी या कुछ भी नहीं बोलूँगी, बिकॉज वही बात है ना, अगर मैं भी वही करने लगी तो आई एम द सेम. बट एट द सेम टाइम यू ऑल्सो नीड टू बी अ लिटिल अकाउंटेबल फॉर व्हाट यूर सेइंग, फॉर हाउ यू आर मेकिंग द अदर पर्सन फील. सो you should take internet a little easy, right? You should let somebody do whatever they're doing. हाँ, अगर आपकी लाइफ पर्सनली उससे अफेक्ट हो रही है या आप को डायरेक्ट अटैक कर रहा है कोई, या आपको लग रहा है कि आपके बच्चे बिगड़ जाएंगे अगर उन्होंने ये देख लिया, तो आप उसको ब्लॉक करके हटा दें या आप उसको ख़त्म कर दें. बस मैं चाहती हूँ कि लोग थोड़े से हिजाबियों के साथ इन स्पेसिफिक थोड़े से पेशेंट हो जाएं. थोड़ा सा उन्हें भी मौका दें यार. उन्हें भी मुश्किल होती है, मैं बताऊँ, तैयार होएं और जब बाल कर्ल करें, और इसमें तो मुश्किल होती है. मैचिंग हिजाब ढूंढने में मुश्किल होती है. अपने आप को हर वक्त देखना कि मेरे कुछ यहाँ से स्किन तो नहीं नज़र आ रही, यहाँ से बाल तो नहीं, मुश्किल होती है.
Yeah, I think people generally have a very all or nothing mentality, right? Like a very black and white mentality. Agreed. And whether that's on the internet or in real life, outside of the internet, it's like, oh, because you started taking hijab, now you can't breathe. Right? Now you have way too much responsibility. People start completely change their entire perspective of you, start looking at you very differently, and their expectations of you change dramatically, right?
Foreign, कि आप पूरे from 100 to 0 आ जाएं.
Yeah, and that is a very inhumane way to look at someone, because we're all humans. And this, like you said, it's a step, right? So some people, like, and while hijabi against a non-hijabi, a hijabi will always appear to be a better Muslim, but that is not necessarily
ज़रूरी भी नहीं है,
right?
बिल्कुल हो सकता है वो दूसरा बंदा एक ज़्यादा अच्छा मुस्लिम हो in terms of the आदतें, the religion follow करना भी,
Because Islamic is वो कहते हैं Islam is a way of life,
Right.
and by way of life means that it says there's an ample amount of things under the umbrella of Islam that you should be doing.
Yeah.
Hijab, I personally believe, absolutely a big essential part of it, but again, it is still not part of an all or nothing. It's not a black and white thing, right? And just because it's a journey, somebody has taken that particular step,
Yeah.
doesn't mean कि उनकी entire being change हो गई है. It's going to take them some time to maybe give up a lot of other things in their life that they feel, or they might never do it
मैं तो बता
either.
रही हूँ हम ना, मुझे कभी किसी ने मेरी डांस वीडियो पे आके क्यों नहीं बोला कि
इससे
ये
पहले।
हराम है मत करो. हाँ, इससे पहले क्यों नहीं बोला?
लेकिन अब हराम होगा
अब
ना.
हराम है क्योंकि मैं अब मुस्लिम हूँ शायद. अस्तगफिरुल्लाह.
Yeah.
मतलब क्यों भाई?
Yeah, yeah. So it's and I think like ये बस हर चीज़ में, and वो होता था कि people take two things. I feel people take too seriously. One, labels, and two, image, right? And personally for me, what I have learned in my life now is that those two things don't matter, right? Like, and it's like, because those things are always part of your perspective. So for example, someone image or label in my head is my perspective. It's not a reality.
Right.
Right? And those are the two things people take very seriously because it's just their perspective. But that might not be that other person's reality. So in how, and like हम hijab की बात करते हैं, but let's like look at a broader, bigger perspective.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things like on the internet. Like you said, you're a hijabi, so now people say a lot of things to you that they didn't say before because of a certain image,
expectation I would say.
and label that stereotype that comes with it. ठीक है?
Definitely. हाँ.
There are a lot of things on the internet that people would be okay with someone else doing or saying. मैं अपनी बात करती हूँ, but when I do them, because of the way that people have perceived me, it will suddenly hit a nerve.
Yeah.
And they will go on and cancel me for it.
Yeah.
Right? Or say something about
Agreed.
for it.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
Right? So
एक image build हो गया.
Image. And there are certain things that people can, like, मैं यहाँ पर आके कोई छोटी सी भी बात कर दूँ ना, बेशक तमीज़ से की हो, प्यार से की हो. एग्जाम्पल दे रही हूँ, कह नहीं रही कि ये है या नहीं है, क्या पता हो भी. बट अगर कोई और है जो फ्लैट आउट गालियाँ दे रहा है, बदतमीजियाँ कर रहा है, उसको नहीं कहेंगे, लेकिन मुझे कहेंगे. Right? Expectation की बात आती है. So, and that essentially is not fair because you are holding people accountable based on your perceptions and your perspectives, right? So yeah, like this is just a thought जो मैंने कहा मैं भी दे दूँ कि ये it's like similar to this.
बस I just pray कि अल्लाह ताला हर किसी को इतना सुकून दे, इतना पेशेंस दे, इतना दे लाइफ में कि वो कभी भी किसी और के ऊपर अपनी नेगेटिविटी और अपनी जजमेंट्स ना थ्रो करें. बस मैं जब कभी भी कोई इस तरह की चीज़ पढ़ती हूँ ना, मैं दुआ करने लगती हूँ. मैं कहती हूँ आप अल्लाह करे उनकी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएं, जो वो फ्रस्ट्रेशन निकाल रहे हैं, हो सकता है इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ समथिंग.
Yeah, so मैं तो I firmly believe in this and I apply this to myself as well. So I'm not saying this लोगों के लिए, अपने लिए भी मैं एग्जैक्ट ये सेम चीज़ अप्लाई करती हूँ कि जिस मोमेंट पे मैं ट्रिगर या ऑफेंड हो रही हूँ ना, दैट इज़ अ ह्यूज साइन फॉर मी टू रिफ्लेक्ट. That is a huge sign for me to reflect which part of me is unhealed that is getting triggered by this.
Wow.
Now I
That is
need to
commendable,
reflect.
because that is amazing. I have never heard somebody say something like that, because that is actually difficult to notice within your own self, right? And you can easily notice it in other people, but not in your own self. So I mean,
yeah, and this is a recent thing that I've started doing with myself as well. Like,
I'm gonna try that too.
Easily offended by something, triggered by something which wasn't meant as a personal attack, but you took as a personal attack, or not even like you didn't even take as a personal attack, but it still offends you and
You feel
triggers
something,
you
yeah.
in a way that it generates a response that is not justified. Means that this is my issue.
Yeah.
This is not their issue. Right? Because you can also because you can also get upset about something without feeling triggered.
Yeah.
Right? So it could be something that you see wrong in someone.
Yeah.
and you can very objectively think that this is wrong, that means okay, this is not coming from an unhealed space in you, it's coming from a very objective thought.
So एक्चुअली इससे मुझे याद आया कि जो मुझे एक लड़की ने एक कोई हेटफुल मैसेज लिखा था एंड देन शी केप्ट मैसेजिंग में. अच्छा मैं कभी इस तरह की कोई आ जाए ना, मुझे अगर याद आ जाए कि इस बंदे ने लिखा, मैं खोलती नहीं मैसेज पे, मैं छोड़ देती हूँ. बार बार वो लड़की मैसेज करेगी, प्लीज़ सी माई मैसेज, प्लीज़ सी माई मैसेज. तो मैंने जब देखा तो उसमें था कि आई जस्ट वांटेड टू से सॉरी बिकॉज आई डिड परसीव यू इन अ नेगेटिव वे एंड आई जस्ट रियलाइज्ड इट लेटर, सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू से सॉरी टू यू एंड आई थॉट दैट वाज ब्यूटीफुल बिकॉज आई फेल्ट लाइक yes, she did give me hate, but then she realized it and she wanted to correct it. So growth, अपनी growth के ऊपर आपको काम करना चाहिए, and I mean what you're doing is fantastic and I actually want to do that too.
Yeah, I think like लोग लिख तो देते हैं लेकिन वो एक सेकंड के लिए ये नहीं सोचते कि मैंने ये बात क्यों की है, right? Like why have I been, it's about why have I been so triggered. It's about the action जिससे मैं बात करें, where you can really reflect. It's about that moment where people don't breathe. Like मुझे बहुत value pausing की समझ आ गई है life में. It's that one moment of pause that can really
change everything.
Like just think.
I'm a hijabi, right? क्या मैं किसी की जाके प्रोफाइल पे लिखती हूँ कि तुमने शॉर्ट्स क्यों पहने हुए हैं या ये हराम? I don't, right? I feel like everyone is on their own journey. Let them be. They figure it out by themselves, and it's okay.
So that's what I'm saying, ना कि लोगों की इतनी absolute mentality और all or nothing के जो शॉर्ट्स पहन रहा है उसकी भी ज़िंदगी है, हिजाब की भी है, फिर जिस बेचारी ने हिजाब ले लिया उसको भी तंग कर रहे हो कि या ठीक से नहीं लेना ना तो उतार दो. हाँ, ये क्या बात है?
उतार दो. हाँ,
we are all humans and we're all here.
या उसने शादी पे नहीं लिया था उस दिन, क्या फ़ायदा फिर हिजाब का जो नहीं लिया, या हिजाब पहन के डांस करें तो क्या, अरे भाई तुम छोड़ दो भाई. हाँ, हिजाब पहन के कोई डांस करे, कोई कुछ भी करे, वो उसका प्रॉब्लम है, आपका प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. आप तो हिजाब भी नहीं किए हुए, आपकी भूल है.
Exactly. Mind your own business. If it's like you are on your journey, focus on that and let them focus on theirs.
Yep.
Yeah. एक तो माइंडिंग योर ओन बिजनेस है लोगों को बड़ा मुश्किल लगता है. और उसमें मैं यही कहती हूँ, हम अपने कल्चर में ना लाइक दिस लॉट ऑफ आंटी ने बोला और यू नो लाइक देसी आंटीज से दिस एंड वी डोंट रियलाइज आंटीज आर लाइक दिस बिकॉज आंटीज आर सो अनहील्ड. दे हैव बीन थ्रू सो मच कि अब वो बड़े होके लाइक उनको ये हर छोटी छोटी चीज लाइक ट्रिगर करती है और बॉदर करती है एंड दे हैव
and you don't want to be that auntie. That's what I tell everyone, you don't want to be that auntie who you used to hate.
Yeah, because वो एक जनरेशनल ट्रॉमा है ना, उन्होंने उनको किया, उनके अंदर वो अब ट्रॉमा बैठ गया तो अब उनको भी वही चीज़ें
लेकिन हमारी अम्मियों में नहीं हुआ. हम ना लाइक हमारी अम्मियों ने अगर सहा भी तो उन्होंने अपने आप को चेंज किया कि वो अपने आगे वालों के साथ ना करें.
A lot of people like हर कोई अपने एंड पे कोई लेवल ऑफ जनरेशनल ट्रॉमा ब्रेक करता है एंड इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर एनी ह्यूमन टू ब्रेक ऑल ऑफ देम, राइट? एज अ मदर आई एम श्योर दैट देयर विल बी सो मेनी थिंग्स. वो कहते हैं ना कि बच्चे अब हमारे जो है वो होल न्यू लेवल ऑफ मेस्ड अप होंगे क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि हम बट ऑब्वियसली इस
ज़माने में अलग मसले हैं.
हाँ, नेचुरल प्रोग्रेशन है ये लाइक बट यू हैव टू लाइक वही बात है कि द पॉजिंग एंड स्पेशली आफ्टर बिकमिंग अ पेरेंट ये सारी चीज़ें मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा होती हैं लाइक यू नो कि व्हाट्स ट्रिगरिंग मी, व्हाट शुड बी बॉदरिंग मी, हाउ मेनी फक्स टू गिव अबाउट या किसी और को सब सिखाना है और वेयर यू नो बाउंड्रीज ड्रॉ करनी है या यू नो बेसिकली फॉर मी आई एम ऑन दिस जर्नी ऑफ हैविंग अ नर्वस सिस्टम दैट इज़ काम. I feel like that is my life's purpose at the moment, to have a calm nervous system, which means basically a lot of inner work and healing where you are unwavered and you can process things calmly. And that is where the whole idea of focusing on your breath and pausing in that moment, because and feeling those feelings rather than reacting to those feelings. Like people think feeling the feeling means doing something about it, but it basically means that in that moment take a pause and acknowledge it.
But also I would like to add that don't take it in to an extent where you start feeling congested about it, like you start feeling like there's something here.
That's the thing, the pause is for you to process it.
Yes. Right? Process it. Don't react. Don't scream about it.
You have to process it because you think like you said कि it has to be expressed, right? वो अपने अंदर बैठा नहीं रहना चाहिए. But reaction is not an honest reaction is never an honest expression of your emotions.
Talk to yourself. I would say talk to yourself and make yourself realize कि ये जो हुआ था ये हुआ था. और पता है मुझे went to the Khalid al-Mirri thing.
Yeah.
So उसमें he did mention that he said I have so much stress in my head and I deal with a lot, so I write it down on paper and then I analyze, and then he realizes that when it's on paper it's so small.
Yeah, so that I've done that for so many years now. So मेरे जो planner business आया था Inspire Me journaling वाला, that was because of this. So उसका जो background था वो ये था कि when you take a moment to write the things that you've thought about and when you read it back, आपके emotions resolve हो जाते हैं. आपको बहुत ज़्यादा समझ में आती है.
It's like talking to yourself.
Yeah. So वो and जो reactions हैं, they basically they damage your क्या कहते हैं कि दे एक्चुअली जो मैंने बोला था कि देर नॉट अ ट्रू एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ योर एक्चुअल फीलिंग बिकॉज रिएक्शंस आर बेस्ड ऑन सेकेंडरी इमोशन. सो बेसिकली आई हैड अ थेरेपिस्ट कम ऑन द पॉडकास्ट वंस एंड शी सेड कि वी हैव प्राइमरी एंड सेकेंडरी इमोशंस एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स वी आर रिएक्टिंग टू द सेकेंडरी वन. सो अगर आपको गुस्सा आया है, आप ट्रिगर हुए हो किसी से, आपको गुस्सा आया है, जो कहती हूँ ना पॉज, गुस्से के नीचे कुछ है, या डिसअपॉइंटमेंट है, या सॉरो है, या कोई वूंड है जिसकी वजह से and you are going to be the expression that you're going to do will be on the secondary emotion. Okay. So what it does is that even though you've expressed it, you haven't resolved it. And if you take that pause to think about, the moment you're going to take that pause, you will suddenly feel your primary emotion, and then the reaction that you give will actually be a justified response to that actual feeling, and it will be the real expression of what you were actually feeling. So you did justice to your emotions and you resolved them. But if you're not gonna pause, you know, and there's been so many times in my life that I've reacted और बाद में reflect किया, you know, and it's not like oh हम नहीं करते react, हम करेंगे, मैं भी करती हूँ और करते हैं, but it's just something that we can think about. All of us can think about. And so I think that kind of brings the podcast to an end. Is there anything else, Aman?
I think it was more than enough.
Yeah.
think इतनी बातें तो मैंने शायद किसी से नहीं की होगा. ये तो मेरा थेरेपिस्ट का सेशन से भी लंबा है.
No, but I really liked having you on the podcast.
I really enjoy talking to you. Especially अपना दिल खोल के जब आप बात करते हैं तो बड़ा मज़ा आता है.
Yeah, और usually होता है कि हम कब से एक दूसरे को जानते हैं, इवेंट्स वगैरह पे मिलते हैं, वैसी कोई बात हो जाती है. But this is like a new connection.
Inside,
yeah. So thank you for coming, for making the time, doing this between the hectic schedule. मेरा भी आगे ट्रैवल आ रहा है, बट हम लोगों ने कर लिया.
But thank you for having me, and I just want to add that I haven't heard many of your podcasts, but I have heard a few, and I just want to say that they're amazing.
Thank you
are amazing, and what you just told me has, you know, I'm a bit blank right now because what you just mentioned in the end about the pausing and the reflecting bit, I actually want to work on that. So thank you for making me learn something new today.
You have made me learn so many things too.
Thank you for being you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Aman. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Happy Chirp. I hope that you guys learned something from it. Saman and I did a lot. बहुत अच्छी conversation थी. थोड़ा दिल को हिलाने वाली भी थी, लेकिन सुकून दिलाने वाली भी थी in a weird way. I felt a very strong connection with someone in this podcast. कभी कभार होता है, I don't know, someone might not feel like this के बहुत मुझे लगता है कि मेरी energies अगले बंदे के साथ align हो गई हैं. And I've actually recently started feeling like this, even day before yesterday. And I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I don't know why I've started developing this hyper empathy जो मैं उसमें भी कह रही थी. I mean, empathy is good, hyper empathy is
but
not.
It's good in a way that you know you're saying
like
मतलब खुद को पता चल रहा है कि क्या हो रहा है.
हाँ, like एक मेरे लिए कभी कभार वो overwhelming हो जाता है. But I don't know, recently I've started to like, पहले I used to feel like क्या empathy है मेरे अंदर, अब वो एक अजीब सा होता है कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं बस connect हो गई हूँ अगले बंदे के साथ.
Pain, you can feel
बहुत ज़्यादा feel होता है. Like yesterday my husband, he was feeling a little bit down and I just felt like मेरे रोने निकल रहे थे. but because I had just absorbed the energy, and for no reason I just felt like crying. I don't know. Anyway, it's weird. Something weird is happening.
No, it's not weird.
But yeah, thank you so much. Please leave comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think. I'll see you again soon next time. Allah Hafiz.